Love you too, chump. All right, me and Drew are going live again, but hopefully I had been waiting for him to click the link, and I think he clicked it. Maybe I missed it. Oh, no, here we go. Just added him.
Hey,
Missed Mr. McFly. I believe that's one tardy slip for you.
oh my gosh. I'm sorry, buddy. It took me a second to drive back. I'm so sorry.
I believe
Oh,
that makes 3 this week.
three this week.
Yeah, Hill
That's
Valley.
oh my gosh. What? I think it's worth one.
No, you. So what's up? What were you up to?
Oh, I had to go pay my car note and I was coming back from physical therapy. So I had to swing by and take care of that real quick.
So
So,
actual important stuff other than just talking
yeah,
about movies and wrestling with me tonight.
yeah, it was all important stuff, man. I wish it was something interesting. I mean, I was briefly at Target. Um, I think I ran down the action figure section real quick, but I was trying to get everything done so I could be back here. So I didn't see anything cool.
What did they? Do you guys have at Target? Do you have any Masters of the Universe figures there at your
Oh
Target?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, we
And you
do.
and then do you have the Turtles versus the Turtle GI Joe mashup? Do you guys have those at your Target?
I did walk past that. Yeah, I saw that.
That
So they're there.
line, yeah, that line. I'm into it. Whatever they did with that crossover, I love it. I love the colors. I like the designs. Those two brands just go together perfectly, I think.
That's fun. Yeah, I could see that. Oh shoot, I didn't put on a special hat for you. I got a plain black workout hat. I,
You make it look good you look like a Power Ranger. You're just wearing your color.
uh,
Generic black hat. Just
I mean, I definitely put one on my closet. It's like right here. So
do it,
I
man.
get.
Oh, hey, Mark Crespo. What's up, boys? What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Nicole's in the chat. What's up, Nicole? Mother Web or Mother Web, Mother Evil. Mother Evil on Slash Tracks. She played the mother of Doctor Evil or Master Evil. It's been so long since I recorded a riff show. I don't even remember the characters' names anymore.
Wow, yeah, it's been a long time.
Johnny Utah says, "Is Drew a horror fan?"
Um, yeah, on some horror stuff I am. It really depends on what it is. Like, if you count Near Dark,
Okay, Near
have you
Dark.
seen those
Yeah, no, I would
yet?
say yeah. Lost Boys. Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Lost Boys is huge for me. The Thing,
I
you
would
know,
I would consider that a horror movie. John Carpenter's The Thing.
yeah. Alien is probably my favorite out of the group. The original Alien. Um, that's the one that really kind of got me. I'm trying to think what else.
What's up, Karen? We see you in the chat. Thanks for joining. Oh,
The
Mark.
Howling was cool.
Which one?
The Howling, American Werewolf in London, The
Oh,
Howling.
American Werewolf in London was one of the movies I probably saw way too early. And I probably saw that movie when I was like 3 or 4. And there, for some reason, them traveling together wearing a red winter coat and a green winter coat that just ingrained in my memory. I don't know why that is specifically. I have no idea. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes there's
Yeah.
something in movies that just like boom. Okay,
They made action figures of them, right?
you made action figures of them
No, no, NECA Toys did.
of the
They did.
Are they
Yeah,
wearing the coats and stuff? Did they
yeah,
make the guy who got attacked by the werewolf his buddy, and then the
yeah.
other guy who becomes the werewolf?
They did, and they made the werewolf. And I think they might have had him when he's in his zombified haunted ghost form as well. I gotta
Okay,
look, but I remember seeing a promotional thing for them. Yeah.
Hey, later, Karen Garcia. Thanks for checking us out. Johnny says, any idea why we haven't gotten a superhero horror movie?
Um, well, technically, Johnny, if you think about it, RoboCop, when people have not seen it, people have referred to that as a horror.
It's like
horror
a
movie.
body horror movie. Like he's
Yeah,
dead.
because of it. Yeah, people have said that. Like people are grossed out when Murphy gets it. Unfortunately. So, he's it's kind of like that. I'm like, oh, well. So I've
Yeah.
heard that, Ash is kind of a superhero. There's something I like. I like Army of Darkness. I like Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 1 was okay. I like 2 and 3 more because
What?
I kind of like Ash more as a hero.
Yeah, the first Evil Dead, you could tell it was made like a student film almost, and it was
Yeah,
also one of the weirdest movies ever. And I know they've explained this. They didn't own the rights to their own movie, so they had to like remake it, and that's what Evil Dead 2 is,
yeah,
right? Didn't they not
yeah,
own they had to remake because everybody was always like, why the hell is Ash going back to the cabin when
right.
he already was at the cabin and had all this terrible stuff happen? Why would you go back?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about it is, uh, Evil Dead 2 is kind of a reboot of the first movie, like what they should have done,
Yeah, they
kind
went
of
back and redid it. You know what else? They Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is
yeah,
like almost it's like a comedy. It's like a comedy, but it's like a rehash of the first movie, and it's like
right.
I don't know, man. Then it's like, okay, so these two guys, the grave diggers, were the same characters that worked at the lab in the first movie. They're completely different people in universe, but it's essentially they're in the exact same plot line with different characters play in a different movie. I don't know, man. Did you?
Yeah. Did I
Did,
watch those?
yeah.
Of course. Yeah, they used to play those on back home in California. I'm originally from SoCal, everybody that may not know. So they played those on Channel 13 and Channel 5 and sometimes Channel 9 would play a lot of that stuff big time. TBS kind of did, TNT maybe, but
Mhm.
really Channel 13, Channel 5 were going to be your kind of thing in California. And it was like every Friday and definitely weekend, Channel 13, Channel 5 had the movie of the night and Fridays, and then Channel 13 they did kind of movies throughout the day. So did Channel 5 to a point.
Yeah.
So
I
I
caught
I
a
got to see a lot of stuff.
I caught a lot of those movies because I was born in '83, and I know you and I are. Were you born in '83?
I was March
Yeah,
83.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm September '83, so we're like the same exact age. I remember Joe Bob Briggs drive-in
Monster
like
Vision.
on Monster
Yeah.
Vision. Monster Vision would play
Yeah.
like I saw Return of the Living Dead, the original, for the
Yeah.
first time on Monster Vision. Some of the first like Jason Lives, some of the Friday the 13th I had never seen, because my family would rent Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason the New Blood. I would see those ones constantly, but I'd see
Whoa,
all the ones I
back up.
hadn't seen.
Your family rented those for you?
Oh, dude, Drew, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 when I was like 3. Um, it probably added to a lot of weird weird shit about me. Like I remember seeing Evil Dead, the first movie, when I was like 8, and I remember just being terrified of the girl who was in the cellar. She's like, Ash, Ash, like she's possessed.
Yeah.
And I was always like highly possession movies always really bothered me because
Okay.
I believed in God, so I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. This is creeping me out big time. Those because whenever I watched Freddy or Jason, it was like I knew it was almost like I was watching a superhero movie or something. I knew it
Wow.
wasn't real.
Wow, man. That's pretty wild, man. Like,
Your parents didn't
uh,
let you watch those when you were a kid.
I mean, it's not that they didn't per se. I don't really know how they felt about a lot of this stuff. I mean, like my brother, when he would come over, because he's my half brother, so when his mom, my parents had the custody thing, and he would come over, who's older than me.
Yeah.
Whatever he watched, he was fine. He watched a lot of horror movies.
Okay.
So I remember in 1987, to be exact, my brother had put on John Carpenter's The Fog. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting there in front of the TV, and he's like, yeah, you got to watch this movie, and he was kind of like that. So my brother really showed me and introduced me to a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
more than what he knows. He doesn't even remember. Like, my brother's 50 now, and he's just kind of like, he's like, I did. And I was like, yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
because he was the first one to kind of kick me on to Aliens, because
Uh,
he saw it before I did, and so he's talking about Hudson and Hicks, and I was like, oh wow, Hudson and Hicks, okay, and I got to check out this movie.
yeah.
And I remember, do you remember that night on Fox when they first premiered in 1990 the official director's cut of Aliens that had the deleted footage put back into it, the 15 minutes restored?
No, I don't remember that. That was
I
probably
was
a
there
huge
that
deal,
night.
though, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. It was a night exclusive. I was at home at night, and they showed Aliens with the extended cut, and it was my first time seeing it. And that's when I saw it. And at first, it definitely kind of scared me, like with the
Yeah.
aliens popping out and all that. And so I was like, yeah. But at the same time, I was interested because the Colonial Marines were so cool.
They wore,
That,
yeah. They wore
yeah.
those huge mech suits and like all the stuff. They were just bad asses. Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
I was into that, and I remember just loving that, and the whole excitement for that movie. And then in 90, what was it, 92, 93, they did the when Alien 3 came out,
Yeah,
which nobody liked, and I don't blame them, because
yeah.
I definitely was really disappointed. But what they did was, this is where it was weird. They didn't make figures for Alien 3, but they made figures for Aliens. Kenner did. I don't know if
For the
you remember
first.
that,
Okay, no,
for the second movie.
vaguely,
Yeah.
vaguely. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, okay, dude, this was huge. They had commercials and everything. I don't know how you missed this.
I remember the toy commercials, but I wasn't like I had not seen the Alien movies enough times to have it like ingrained because I was like watching Predator,
Okay.
Predator, Terminator 2. Those were the ones I'd rewatch constantly.
Okay. Yeah, they had done the Aliens figures, and they had the Space Marine commercial, and like they were supposed to do a cartoon show on Fox. I saw the
Uh,
stills for it.
they were gonna
Um
do an Aliens cartoon. How do you even
yeah,
do
but
that? How do you even do that?
they were going to go with the toy line, but like they decided not to. I think they got hit by the censorships. Um and they said no, but it was Ripley, and you have the power loader, the mech suit power
Hmm.
loader. I actually have the NECA one right over here with the giant queen alien.
Okay.
So I have all the NECA figures for Aliens. And so I got the Kenner stuff, and I remember my friend Mike Sanchez came to school and had a whole collection of them.
Okay.
And it was, let me see, it was Ripley, it was Drake, Hicks, Hudson had not come out later, Vasquez had not come out till later, Apone, I'm trying to think who else, Bishop that blew apart. There was like all these different variations of the alien, that
Bit
he had.
Bishop from freaking Juice, Tupac.
No,
No,
Bishop
I'm kidding.
from Aliens.
I'm kidding you.
Lance
I'm joking.
Henriksen. Yeah,
He's all, you got the juice now, Ripley. You got the juice now.
yeah, they had him. The Bishop blew apart. You push a button on his back, and he would blow apart. And he had these like Terminator sunglasses on. You know, Drake was all with white hair and screaming, and Hicks had the like a bazooka. You know, Ripley had the flamethrower. You know, Apone had a backwards baseball cap and a
So
yellow
they all had
sports
their,
shirt.
they all had their gimmick.
Yeah, nobody looked like their character pretty much.
Now Kenner had a hard time getting likenesses with a lot of their properties back in the 90s. Hey, in the chat, Drew, check it out. So Mark says Batman, no, excuse me, Johnny Utah says Batman Returns is kind of horror. I would agree with that. Danny DeVito, the Penguin's biting people's noses off. He's essaying his political campaign manager. He's like eating raw mackerel. He's literally killing people. Like, wasn't he? He was like kidnapping babies. Like
They were
he.
supposed to drown him. Yeah.
Oh, he was actually supposed to drown the baby.
They were
Wow.
taking all the firstborn of Gotham's kids, and he was going to take them, and he had an umbrella to play some nursery rhyme music to trick them in, and then he was going to put them all in the water.
And then Batman hacked his stuff, and he like said, "I'm gonna play this stinking city like a harp from hell."
Yeah, that movie was weird, man. I mean, Tim Burton should be ashamed of himself because
you didn't like Batman Returns?
I didn't like it as much because it was so freaking weird.
It was dark. It was dark, and
it was just weird,
dude. They don't explain. They're like, Selena Kyle gets pushed out of the window and she dies. Yeah. She's dead. Okay,
right?
She's a zombie. Is that what's going on here? Like, or she's a cat? Like, she has cat DNA, and like they actually have 9 lives. They never explain that.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. It was just so weird. It wasn't the fact that it was dark. It was just so weird. Like, it was like, why is the penguin biting people's noses? Why, it was just kind of it was weird, and then it was goofy. It's like a goofy, weird thing, It's like kind of odd, and I just couldn't grab onto it because I'm like, how am I supposed to take this seriously when it's so goofy?
Did you like Batman Forever or Batman Returns more? Which
one?
Okay.
This is what I'll say. I liked Val Kilmer more as Batman because he looked more like Batman.
Physically imposing, and he had that jawline. He had the cowl down.
Yeah. I was a big Val Kilmer fan, so I liked him because, and Bob Kane, who was still alive at the time, he had said that he was the closest, Val Kilmer was the closest he had seen to what Batman looked like and moved at that time. That's what he said.
Like in his brain, how he thought Batman should actually be.
Yeah. He said he was the closest. He said he was better. He said he was a better fit than Keaton was. He was like, Kilmer was taller. He was really good looking, like Bruce Wayne, he could fight better than Keaton. Yeah. He was more agile than Keaton. He was in better shape than Keaton, So,
you want to get nuts? I got a fire poker. Like, yeah, Michael Keaton wasn't exactly like, I didn't buy his character in no way had any martial arts background in the film. He just straight punches, kicks. Yeah. Like, Batman is like, if you read the Batman comics, he's a martial artist.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I've read Batman since 1987. I was a comic, so this is before the movie had come out. Yeah. So that was the first thing I thought. I thought, oh yeah, the movie's cool, but there's problems. I'm like, he's not this, he's not tall, like he's not what Bruce Wayne is supposed to represent, you know. And I said Michael Keaton's a really good actor. I think he's a great Beetlejuice. I think he's a great Mr. Mom. I think he's great in other roles, even serious roles. But Batman, I mean, he made it. I said he's a good Tim Burton universe Batman. That's what I've always said. He's a good Tim Burton universe Batman.
That first,
he's not. Yeah,
dude.
he's not a. If you put the comic book and lay it down, he's not even close. Because that's the number one comic book I probably spent the most time with outside of the X titles. You know, which is all X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, Excalibur. I spent the most time with Batman besides the X-Men stuff. And yeah, I know Batman very well. Very, very well. Like I told you, I voted on the hotline to kill
Robin.
Yeah, to kill off Jason Todd.
The Batman 89, like, I agree with you on that. Like, when you lay it out, all the Batman doesn't look like Batman. He doesn't fight like Batman. But for whatever reason, when he's in the suit, to me, it's completely believable. Like, Batman 89 was a really good film.
It is. It's a good movie. It is.
It's definitely dated. Some of the Prince soundtrack stuff is really good, but some of it doesn't fit into the fit into the film. It's like almost like they're like, we've got this huge artist. We're just gonna let him have complete creative control to do whatever he wants in this film. And like the Bat Dance song, which is good. I don't get me wrong. I'm trying to like the tone of some of the stuff that Prince did in that movie. I don't know. It didn't seem like it matched, I guess. I don't know. I would have to take a closer look to give a better example, but
yeah, I watched it. I watched it this year for the first time in a very long time. And the same things you said is the same things I was thinking. And the other thing was like when you watch the movie, I started to think about when you watch it, I was just like, well, hold on here for a second. Okay. So you got Kim Basinger in the movie, right?
Yeah.
She was married to Alec Baldwin at that time.
Yeah.
So I was like, why didn't they get Alec Baldwin or Val Kilmer back then to do the first movie? Mm-hmm. Because it was like those guys fit Bruce Wayne. Like those guys could do a really dark performance like Alec Baldwin could.
Alec Baldwin? You think so?
He was the Shadow, remember?
Yeah, he was the Shadow. I think I'm looking at it from a different perspective because he was a very handsome guy. He's so crazy now that I'm thinking of Alec Baldwin now.
Yeah, you got to go back and think of Alec Baldwin back then, like when he was doing the Tom Clancy stuff.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking about. Yeah, you have to look at it, and then you have to look at Val Kilmer and his acting ability and his performance and his stunts. You know, the things he did in Willow, the stunts he did. Mm-hmm. The leading man quality that both of them have. I was just like, why didn't? And here's the thing. Remember, Tim Burton also worked with Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice as well. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, because Alec Baldwin was haunting the house. Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, well, why didn't he get him? Like, it made total more sense to get him.
I don't know.
You got Kim Basinger, so it's like it's not like you can't ask her to ask him. So it never made sense to me.
She they never like the Batman. So like I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say here. The first Batman was good. Batman Returns was pretty good. Batman Forever was basically a cartoon because it was a Joel Schumacher film. Which is weird because he made Lost Boys, which he nailed the tone of like colorful, dark, gritty, but he could not recapture it for Batman Forever. It was too neon-y, too cleaned up. Oh, go ahead.
I got a story for you you're going to love. Joe Schumacher has said this up until he died, that the studios told him they wanted it to be campy. They wanted it to be over the top as much as I could because of the reaction from Batman Returns. The kids were freaked out. So he said there's actually called the Schumacher cut, where he had ideas where he made it much more serious. That's why when you see a lot of the Val Kilmer parts, when he talks about his parents, it's like kind of more serious. Remember, he's at the funeral.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's sitting
dark.
in the dark. Yeah, there was a lot more of that. That's why there was a big animatronic bat he was supposed to face off. That's why it was called Batman Forever, because it was like, will he be Batman forever? Because he's kind of at war with himself. And a lot of the movie was supposed to be that and really kind of answer that question. But the studios were like, no, it's got to be goofy. It's got to be this, you know? And so he went in with the idea of making Batman, and he looked at the comics and he was like, this is way more serious and on this, so we should go this direction. I said, no, because the kids got scared and the Happy Meal toys and McDonald's and all this. We've got to make sure it's
the Happy
extra
Meal
goofy.
toys. The Happy Meal toys.
So,
they made the Batman Returns Happy Meal box, and they like pulled it early, right? Or did they?
Yeah,
they pulled it early because people were freaking out.
Well, what they did was they revamped a lot of the stuff, so it was like it looked like the Superpowers Penguin.
Yeah,
you know, so like the traditional Penguin, but they just painted them black and white and red instead of the blue and the purple and all that. That's what they did. So it's like, oh, there's a Penguin figure, but it's the one from the Superpowers.
Yeah,
you know?
the one that looks like Burgess Meredith.
Yes, that's what they used. Yeah, that's exactly what they used, and that's how they promoted the movie. Was like, oh, we've got the Penguin figure like that. You know, they did the Catwoman figure, of course. They did a bunch of Batman, and then that Robin we talked about. And they put that out, and then the new style Batcave that they've used like 50 times after that.
Speaking of that Batcave, when you and I were like 7 or 8, I remember. Do you guys remember in the chat? And Drew, do you remember the Sears catalog or the JCPenney's catalog?
Yes.
I remember going through the Batman section and just like want that, and circling it. And I just remember seeing that Batcave in the catalog, and I was like, man, if I could somehow get that Batcave, I don't think I would ever need anything else in my entire life. ever.
I got a story. The same Sears catalog I had, and the Batcave was there. Because remember, they had the Batcave for the first movie, but it was way different looking.
The second one was like taller.
Yeah, it was much taller, and it folded out in a 3-fold, you know, where you had 2 sides.
Yeah, I do remember.
And I remember I took my mom, I tried to get my mom's credit card, and I called the hotline, you know, the phone number you called. And I was like, you know, with the little kid voice, like 5, you know, and stuff like that. And they were like, well, how old are you?
20.
You know, I was like, old enough. And they were like, uh-huh.
So you were like almost going to just buy that Batman for yourself?
Yeah. They kind of just pushed me off the phone, and then my mom had showed up, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. You know,
your mom would have been, dude, your mom wouldn't have been pissed for like another 8 months until it showed up, because when you ordered anything from that catalog, it took like 8 months to get it, man.
Yeah, it was hard. I didn't know anybody that had the Batcave. It was kind of that thing that was like that big item. I got a Batcave. I got that Batcave, but it was done in the animated series style, which is just a repaint and some change in stickers.
They're like, we're gonna make some money off this one real quick. James, my friend James Abram, my former roommate, one of my very good friends, just said best Batcave ever was from Batman Forever.
That was a cool looking Batcave.
It was cool. I like that he had at the end of the movie when he's like, Val Kilmer, Batman's like, do you want to go by land or by sea? And he just happened to have the Bat boat and the Bat. Was it the Bat wing? Did he have the Bat wing? Okay, cool. Yeah, and I was like, man, this Batcave is great. But the Batcave got blown up, right? In Batman Forever.
Yeah, a part of it got blown up, and then he had the other part of it where that's where the Bat boat and then the wing was, and everything else got destroyed except for that one sonar suit that he wears.
Yeah, the new prototype suits that they
Yeah.
wore at the end of the movie, and even Robin had the new suit, right?
Yes.
Okay, got you. I totally remember. Oh, James says the George Clooney one. What are you saying, the George Clooney one? You saying it's the best one? Or are you saying, because that movie, Batman and Robin, James, ruined the entire franchise for years.
Yeah, and George Clooney had the head shake. Do you
What?
know about that?
No, tell me what that is.
I'll have to send you a video where they talk about it, but like he'll come out and his head will shake like this. He'll wear the
Really?
Batman suit. Yes. And it's like he'll be like, hey, Freeze, I'm Batman. And his head will shake a little bit. And he'll keep doing it throughout the movie when he's wearing the suit.
Oh,
So when
man.
Poison Ivy grabs him with the ropes and he's all tangled up, he's going like
Yeah, his head shook like
yeah,
a bobblehead.
yeah, it's so weird. And there's a channel called Double Toasted on YouTube, and they're kind of a comedic channel. They've been around a long time. They did a 2-part where they did a bad movie roast on it, and they get into that whole thing.
He was
So you'll see.
in the chat. Johnny Utah says they should have done a Batman versus Dracula, Bat versus Bat, and guess what, Johnny? They did. They did
Yeah,
the cartoon, which we were talking about comfort movies. I would say, James, when I lived with you, at 910 Oakway Drive in Coos Bay, like 9 times out of 10, that movie would be playing in the background when I go to sleep. Batman versus Dracula. And it was like the Batman cartoon version, the Batman. Was it the?
Yeah.
I can't. But I wasn't familiar with it because it was like a special movie edition of that cartoon series. But I just really loved that specific special. It was just so good. And Vicky Vale was his love interest in that, by the way.
Oh wow.
That's the second time I'd ever seen Vicky Vale other than the '89 movie.
She's in the comics for a brief time. She was one of the many love interests of Bruce Wayne, but her Silver St. Cloud was another one that kind of came and went.
Yeah, okay. James in the chat says we would watch Blade together, remember? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yes. James, do you remember when I would say some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill? Because Wesley Snipes was like, he says he just kills Frost. I think he's all some suckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. It was just so. Blade was a good movie, man.
Blade is a great movie. Blade is a great movie.
And speaking of Blade, guys, Blade was not only the first black superhero for Marvel on screen. I want to say he was the first Marvel movie that they released before Iron Man. Blade was the one.
Yeah, it's true.
Blade was the first one, and Blade was awesome.
Yeah, because you had Spawn, I think a year before. So you had Spawn, and then you had Blade. Yeah, and they were, yeah, 2 cool leading guys. Very good martial artists. Very good martial artists.
Did you see that Wesley Snipes in Blade Trinity? He was like so not happy with the fact that Ryan Reynolds was on set. He like hated Ryan Reynolds. He wasn't happy with the production of the movie. There was a scene where they're like, Wesley, we need Blade to like have his eyes open. He needs to open his eyes to like wake up because he's going to go fight or something. Well, Wesley Snipes refused to open his eyes, so he could not get it on camera. So they had to CGI his eyes opening. They had to pay like an extra $100,000 because he refused to open his eyes on camera in that movie. I'm not exaggerating.
No, I knew that there were problems on set. And I know they brought in Jessica Biel and, all kinds of stuff. Personally, I felt that he just needed, if he was going to have anybody on his team, well, they killed the one person, the love interest he had in the second movie, Nisa.
Yeah. The doctor from the first movie, where is she? She cured herself, and she's gone. Yeah.
She's gone, but I like the second one better, as she could fight with him, and she was really cool, and they had really good chemistry. And then they killed her, So I was like, you just need her, and you need Whistler. Whistler, Chris Christopherson was fantastic. Bring in Ghost Rider or some, or someone like that to back him up. I was like, that's what he needs.
So in the chat, James says he saved Marvel. Says Blade 3 was trash. Johnny
True.
Utah says Triple H was one of the vampires. He absolutely was. He carried a Pomeranian with him, a little vampire Pomeranian dog. Blade 2 was hands down the best one. Blade 2 was really different from the first one because the vampires had mutated and they had they had the jaw that would like shoot out and like open up like on a hinge.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. And one of the guys from Fast and the Furious, the very first Fast and the Furious, who was like one of Vin Diesel's best friends in the original movie, was also in that movie. And every time I see him, I'm like, oh, those are the 2 movies he was in. Like, I never saw him in anything else. Do you remember Fast and the Furious, Drew?
I refuse to watch it.
What? Why?
Yeah. I can't do it. I couldn't. You know why?
Because they ripped off Point Break?
No, not because of that. Because they claimed this was the ultimate car movie, the coolest car on the planet. And I rolled my eyes and I said, there's only one Road Warrior.
Oh, so you're okay. Because they were trying to make Vin Diesel like, okay, I got you. Was it a Charger? Was that the car
that Max has?
Yeah.
Max has a 1972-73 Ford Falcon, which is the equivalent to a Mustang in the United States. It's what a Mustang is in Australia. And they took that, used a bunch of parts on it, a bunch of different stuff, engine blowers and stuff, and kind of assembled that car.
Okay.
Kind of monstered that thing up for the movie. So, yeah, I was like, Mad Max is the car movie, like Mel Gibson is the car guy. I'm like, outside of him, you have Steve McQueen, and Bullet, stuff like that. Some of the Burt Reynolds stuff, like you have, Smokey and the Bandit stuff. That was like the thing. But specifically Mad Max, because of the stunts, were real. And I just saw all this, like, I don't know, like the CGI and, and then they're in space in one of them. And I'm like,
the first Fast and the Furious was good. It was good. It was more of a character piece, like the relationship between Paul Walker and Vin Diesel's characters. And then Paul Walker falls in love with Vin Diesel's sister, Jordana Brewster. And I really enjoyed the movie. The problem that I have with that movie is I love the movie Point Break. And the Keanu Reeves one where he goes undercover to go, surfing, the bank robbers or so like I just remember he's an FBI agent, Keanu Reeves. He goes undercover, gets too close to the bank robbers. He doesn't really know they're the bank robbers, but he has an inkling that it's hit them. But they're his boys now. They're his actual friends now because he's undercover. They take that exact plot. They make Paul Walker Johnny Utah. He goes undercover, runs into Vin Diesel and their group. It's identical. It's like instead of surfing, it's car racing. And tell me I'm wrong. I talked to the guy on my YouTube channel. There's an interview on this channel. Bo Jesse Christopher, who plays Gromit, who was Patrick Swayze's younger brother. He admits to me in the interview that, yes, dude, there's no way that they didn't rip that off. It's identical.
Yeah, I remember I saw that interview when you guys did it. I was super excited for you guys because I remember when Point Break came out in theaters when it was new, and I was excited because I knew Keanu from Bill and Ted, and I recognized him, and I knew Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse, and another movie that people have forgotten about. Let me see if you know this.
Next of Kin.
No.
Hold on. Wolverines.
No, not Red Dawn, but I like that. It's on the same trail as Mad Max a little bit.
Okay. Damn. What is it?
Steel Dawn.
What when did he? Who was in that movie with him, and what is it about? I never saw that.
Okay, so it was his wife, Kathy Namey. She was in it, and it was him. And then it was, gosh, the actor that played. You remember American Ninja?
Yeah,
The guy that played Joe Armstrong's dad, his Japanese father. He was in it.
the guy who was an American Ninja was the white guy with the blonde hair, Michael something, and he always there's like 9 American Ninjas, right?
Yeah, there's 4. Well, 5. Okay, because it's like, it's like this. Here's how it works. So the first one, there's American Ninja 1. There's 2. And then Michael Dudikoff came back for that one with.
There you go, Michael Dudikoff. There's our boy.
And Steve James, because remember Steve James was with him.
Yes,
that was in Delta Force and stuff. Who passed away later on. That's what happened to Steve James. Everybody was looking for him. It was like, that dude passed away, unfortunately. And then he didn't do the third one. And then that's when they brought in David Bradley.
Okay.
Who was a legit martial artist and very good and had a cool look to him. And he came in, and I actually liked him a lot more, as the character Sean. So you had him, and that was 3. And then they put Steve James with him. And then the 4th movie, I don't know what the heck happened, because they wanted to put Dudikoff and Bradley together, right?
Both of them?
Yeah, in one movie, which would be great, because like you had, 2 different ninja characters, so put them both together, they kick butt, you have a Contra cool moment thing going. But it was like Dudikoff couldn't tape everything. And then it was like he was in parts of the movie because he wasn't there all the time. And then they put Bradley in the rest of the movie in certain parts that they were filming in another location. And then they got them all in one location, but then it went nowhere. They didn't have a cool standoff, any cool stuff. It was all lame. They hyped that movie up. I had waited for that to happen for so long and to finally see it, and they did nothing with it. And it was just the lamest thing.
What they should have done to help that franchise was to take Sasha Mitchell from Kickboxer 6 and 7.
Yeah,
and from the TV show Step by Step, Cody. They could have had him show up and play a villain, or they could have had. Did you like Sasha Mitchell as a martial artist? Did you buy it?
Oh, he was a legit martial artist. He trained with Benny the Jet Urquidez, who's our greatest American kickboxer championship guy. You have him. He was undefeated. You have Don the Dragon Wilson, and you have Superfoot Bill Wallace. Those were the 3 kickboxing guys. And then, also on the reign, but more on the Tangsudo Shotokan side, you had, Chuck Norris, Joe Louis, Mike Stone. Okay. So he got trained by a lot of those guys. And specifically, he was at the Jet Center with Benny the Jet Urquidez. And Benny the Jet Urquidez, if you don't know who he is, boys and girls, you don't know martial arts, because Benny the Jet is the bad. He's still alive, the baddest of the bad. He trained John Cusack. He was Benny the Jet was undefeated. He was actually in an actual real death match and didn't know it.
So how did the fight end? Did he?
Well, he didn't kill the guy, but if let's say the guy was better than him, the guy would have killed him.
Okay, and so he had mercy.
Yeah, he said what happened was they had got him at he was competing at an event or something, if I remember right. He tells a story. It's crazy, and it's online. I'll send it to you. And he talks about it, and he was like, he wasn't taking it seriously. So like these guys, they came up, these weird looking kind of, guys with dark glasses and stuff. And they were like, yeah, our head guy wants to meet you and they want you to do a professional fight. It's in another location. And he was like, what? And what do you want? And he was just kind of like, give me this much money. And he was like at this fancy hotel, there's like a fur coat. He's like, oh, my wife would like this. Like, give me this fur coat, and he was just, and they were like, done. And he said they took him. It was kind of like hidden. Like they took him to a place and they tried to hide where they were driving him, and they got him there. And they wanted him to fight this guy, and so he's in the ring, and he's like, well, now it's becoming more real to him. He's like, oh, wait a minute. He's like, so you want me to really fight this guy? And they're like, yeah. And the guy's like, yeah, to the death. And he's like, what? And he's just like, and he's looking at this guy. He's like, you guys know I'm the world champion and I do this for a living. Like, this is no point system. Like, I really, really do this. Like, I go head to head with people full speed, no break, no time. Like, this is really what I do.
Yeah, no rounds or anything. No.
Yeah, I can really do this. Like, and they were just like, yeah, that's why you're here. Like, we want you to fight this guy. And he's like, the guy kept saying like, to the death. And he's like, there was an audience, but you remember Best of the Best too? How they were behind those glass windows? He said it was a lot like that, where they were behind windows. And he said, I fought this guy and I broke his ribs, and I really hurt this guy. And I was just like, all right. And they were just like, yeah, come on. And he was like, no, I'm not going to kill him. So they were kind of disappointed. And he was like, oh shoot, like what are they going to do to me?
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. So they drove him. They dropped him off. He was like kind of worried, like he didn't know what kind of people they were, but he was like, it was like this whole underground weird thing that he got in. But yeah, Benny the Jet trained Sasha Mitchell. Sasha Mitchell is a very good martial artist.
Yeah.
Very well accomplished. More than what people know. Everybody wants to think of Step by Step and, Cody the dude man, every time. But we share the same accent,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like everybody's like, but I was like, you guys don't understand. Like, he's really, 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 really good. You don't come out of getting accolades from Benny the Jet Urquidez unless you're that good. I mean, Michael Jai White came from him. Like, yeah.
He could have had, like, I honestly believe this. Like, the Step by Step, to me, he was like the main part of that show that I really enjoyed. Other than Dana, I like Dana a lot. I like JT a little bit, but like Cody was the man. And when Cody had that situation, he had like a domestic dispute with his wife or something. That was pretty much the end of his Hollywood career, to be honest with you. And I feel like he could have had a way, way bigger career had he not have done that. And then in the chat, Johnny Utah says, Frank Dukes a fraud? I will answer this. I'm going to answer this first, and then I'm going to let an actual martial artist answer it. Yes, he was a fraud. I think it's been proven that Frank Dukes lied, because didn't he say that they Frank Dukes went to the tournament, the Bloodsport tournament, and then he fought through 50 different rounds, and he was undefeated through 50 different rounds, and somebody actually did the math on that, and they're like, how the hell would you set up a tournament where Frank Dukes won 50 matches? How many people were in the tournament?
Question the knowledge, just know I am part of the Brotherhood. I am a first-degree black belt myself, so there you go.
We'll say, the Kumite. So Drew,
yes,
was he a fraud?
Oh, dude, he was the biggest fraud on the planet. He tricked everybody. Everybody knew it. And people that vouch for him, they're frauds too. Okay, the other martial artists that pose for him are frauds too. Because what's his name? That claimed he beat Bruce Lee. That talked about eating up a rib shack and kick some sign and all that stuff. Gosh,
I don't remember who vouched for him. I just remember they did the math.
He was a fraud too. And that's the thing about it. Like, anybody that vouches for Frank is a fraud. Like, guys that's who I'm thinking of. Ashita Kim, who claimed to be a ninja that wore a 3-cut ski mask and made these books about hanging out in the middle of the jungle doing ninja skills. He was Count Dante was another one. And he called himself Count Dante. There was a whole bunch of these fraud guys that were walking around claiming they had mystical powers, and those are the guys he hung out with.
What about the guys who say they can beat you with your chi? Like, they can fight you without even touching you. What's your stance on that, Drew?
No, you can't. You can't do that, you know. And they're a mockery of okay. First off, chi energy, correct chi energy, is just it's really science, and it's not what people think. Nobody's doing a Duke and fireballs. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But
The Duke and
it's yeah, it's like for me, if I build energy, like Sifu Singh, who I follow a lot, who's a great kung fu practitioner. Okay, he's a legit guy, really, really good. What he does is he does a thing called like a charge, where he'll snap his hand, and it's just a really quick release of focused energy. So it's not anything magical. You just have to know like what you're training in. Like in this case, with Wing Chun, traditional kung fu, you know, Hung Gar, whatever you're doing, you just have to know like your hand movements. If you're practicing your hand movements and they're strong, it's like it's a release. So it's like you're just muscle tension and you let it go, and it pushes a big amount of energy. That's
like
realistically what she is.
Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. Is it similar to that kind of?
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar to that, where like you release your energy out of a certain, because like with Bruce, he generated the energy from his body to his hand and pushed all of it with one. You know, he focused enough. So people are like, oh, Bruce is magical. No, he'll tell you he's not magical. He just practiced. People don't get, Bruce gave his secret away. Bruce always said, I don't fear the guy that knows 100 kicks. I fear that guy that knows that one kick that he practices 1,000 times a day. That's the guy I'm scared of. That's all Bruce did. Bruce practiced those moves over and over and over and perfected. So like the 1-inch punch, okay, I'm pushing you. Now he's knocking you further because he really worked on the science of just like adjusting your body. That's all it really is. So there is no magical, I hate to break it to everybody, there is no magical, there's no Japanese ninjutsu where, you know, you're like Joe Armstrong in American Ninja. You go like this, you know, Sai, what was it? Sai, this, Kobendetta, and then Flame shows up, and then your ninja costume magically gets on you, and you've got this, you know, red belt to go with it, and you're taking out ninja everywhere you go. You know, this suit's gonna magically come up with a puff of smoke. Like it, no, there's no magic to it. And Frank Dukes, who did ninjutsu, who said he got trained by Tiger Tanaka, who strangely enough is a character in one of the James Bond movies Sean Connery did. He claimed that he got trained by Tiger Tanaka, and so Yoshidoshi Tanaka trained him. Nobody's been able to track down Tanaka. They found a Tanaka a couple times. Who knows? But Frank Dukes, he is a martial artist. That I'll give him. That's true. But he's not what people think, okay? He's a martial artist guy. His style really looks a lot like traditional Shotokan with a little fancy twist on it, okay? So I'll give him that. But he claims he trained CIA operatives. He was a CIA operative. He was undercover in the mafia. He was a special soldier of fortune, all this stuff like that. And he was a guy that was in the Navy. He was not a SEAL. I think he hung out on a boat.
He was never
basic operator stuff.
He like all his stuff that he did or claimed, you can't back it up. You can't corroborate it. There's no evidence for any of it. It's all just from his mouth. That's how you know it's probably bullshit.
It is. You know, do you know Viking Samurai?
No, I don't.
Okay. He's a good friend of mine. I know him personally. And you guys look up Viking Samurai. Check out his channel. He's interviewed a lot of these martial artists, and he's done several interviews with Frank Dukes. And he broke it down, and he tells the wildest stories about, you know, all the stuff he did, and, you know, fighting in the kumite on top of buildings, and like people would die in the he tells his whole story. And the trophy, here's the thing, the trophy, he said, I don't have the actual trophy, so I had to have one made of the kumite, but it is authentically my championship. And all it was some trophy he just had made. It was just a fancy way of saying that.
From from the trophy store in town.
Yeah, that's what he
Like
did. Everything about him is fake. Frank Dukes is a complete fraud and a complete fake. You know, him and I would even Steven Seagal and
Oh my
him,
god.
they just
Do you
they
think
hype it up. They are martial artists, okay, but some of the stuff that they're claiming, like,
Steven
it's so
Seagal,
ridiculous.
like his martial arts, if you give your wrist to him, or if you get super close to him, if he fought anyone who knew how to strike or keep a distance, he'd be so screwed. Like all of his fighting is like what does he study? What is Steven Seagal's
He was an Aikido practitioner.
keto?
That's
There
what
you
he.
go.
So, I mean, and I'll tell people this as a martial artist, it is very true that he actually had a dojo in Japan. To be a gaijin, to be an American in Japan and have a dojo that is respected, and a Japanese master actually allows you to marry his daughter and start a studio. Yeah, you've got to be in there pretty good. So I'll give him that. But Aikido is very different. I know there's hard Aikido. Well, I know that, but I did study Aikido briefly. It's interesting, but it's not to what Steven Seagal would say, because he's another one saying, "Oh, I train Navy SEALs and I'm so deadly," and it's like he's not to the level of some of the guys that we know. He's definitely not to the level of like Chuck Norris. Like Chuck Norris.
Or even Jean-Claude Van Damme. Or
No, he's
even
not.
JDF.
He's not. And I know people give Jean-Claude Van Damme a hard time, but I'll tell you, Jean-Claude Van Damme actually competed in France. He did hold championships. He did hold trophies. It was more of a point system is what he did. And he's never claimed to be like anything magical. It's just he did it, and that's true. He's a very good practitioner. I mean, Chuck Norris trained with him. He said Van Damme is really, really good. And Benny the Jet, my guy Benny the Jet, he said if Van Damme went on the professional kickboxing circuit, full contact, he could have done it. He said how far he could have gone, I don't know, but he definitely could have done something like that, and he could have done really well.
Yeah, I believe that too. What was your thoughts when JDF was trying to call out Van Damme and like actually fight? How do you think that goes?
Okay. I'll say this. JDF is right, because Van Damme showed up at that time in the 90s when it first happened. Van Damme was on heavy cocaine at that time, because that's when Street Fighter was going. And he had doubled that cocaine intake, like
on the set. Yeah. Yes.
Most of that budget went towards his nose. So he was really, really messed up. He's bipolar. And you give him cocaine and drinking and losing himself, and you got a problem. So that's part one. Part two, when they met again, I was like, well, maybe, Van Damme's much more chill and they could kind of work that out. I don't know. Here's what I think. Van Damme was intimidated by JDF because JDF was the up and coming new guy. You know, he was that new, barely 20-year-old guy, and he knew he was good. And he knew that guy with the popularity could possibly take his spot. And I think it really got down to that. And JDF didn't care about that stuff, but Van Damme did. Some people in Hollywood care about who's going to be the next guy to take their spot. Some people get kind of, weirdly conscious like that. They're just like, oh, you're going to take my spot. Oh, they're not going to call me. They're going to call this young guy. Some people don't care. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger never cared about the new action guy. He was cool with everybody, Stallone had some problems with Arnold because, he was like, he's my competition when they were younger. And Arnold could give a care less about it. He just did his thing. When he met Dolph Lundgren, the story about when Arnold first met Dolph Lundgren?
I don't know, but I do remember what you were saying about Stallone. I remember Stallone took the movie Stop or My Mom Will Shoot because Arnold was joking with him and said he was going to take the role. So
Yes.
Stallone called his agent and said, "Make sure I get that role." But Arnold never wanted that role.
No, he tricked him.
He tricked him into
He
taking
tricked
that
him into
shitty
that.
movie.
Yeah, he tricked him into that. And he fell for it because it was just him just teasing around because he knew Stallone was kind of hard like that, you
Yeah,
know.
and insecure maybe a little bit.
Yeah, he was insecure and he wanted to be the top spot, you know. And when he met Dolph Lundgren, he said it was when they were doing Conan the Destroyer. Oh. And you know, he was dating Grace Jones. Dolph Lundgren was.
I knew
Yeah.
that. I did know
Yeah.
that.
And he was at her house for a party. And Dolph was training for Rocky IV, so he was trying to get some sleep early. And he hears this knock on the door. And he's like, yeah, who is it? He's all, it's your trainer. Let me see you. He's like, I gotta check you out, you know, before you tape. And he was like, what? And it was Arnold at the door, you know. And he said he just wanted to meet him and hang out. Yeah. That's how he was. He said, and I know people that have been around Arnold. You know, I'm from the state where he was the governor, and I was still in California when that happened. And I was working in the court system when he was governor, and people would have to call the office, and Arnold took most of those calls himself. He would talk to the people directly. He was very personable. Yeah. And so my coworker, she's like, Drew, I just talked to Arnold. I said, what? I said, call him back. She's like, I can't. It's like, I got to go do something. I said, call him back. And I said, how did it go? She said, I had to talk to his office about a matter, and they just transferred me right to him. And he picked up. There he was. And so she was like, you know, she said something that got into I'll be back, you know, I'll be back with something. And then she kind of laughed a little bit, and he started laughing. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. Then you do it. But you got to do it like this. He was totally like that on the phone. So Arnold's always, everybody told me, like, when you're with Arnold, he talks to you like he's known you 20 years. You know, he's just cool like that. So, you know, he's one of those guys that's not intimidated. So JDF, he's just like, hey, it's cool. Everybody does their thing. I try to get along with everybody. That was JDF. But Van Damme, I think he was very intimidated by JDF. You know,
there's a video where JDF confronts him at a Comic-Con, and he's like, "You're punking me, or you're trying to punk me, or you're not gonna punk me," or something like that. What was that about?
Okay, so he had shared his at a Comic-Con. They asked him if he would share his green room with Jean-Claude, and JDF was like, yeah, because he was thinking, well, years had gone by, maybe we can, you know, bury the hatchet and just be cool. All right, let's try to do that. So yeah, he could share my room. And he did that. And he said, yeah, he came in and it was like, he was kind of weird and he was kind of rude, but he said it was also like they were trying to set up like something he felt the whole time. So like when he's talking to him, he's kind of just blowing him off. And then he asked him about like, well, what's the whole deal with you and Chuck Zito? Because Chuck Zito was the guy that knocked out Van Damme at that bar because he was drunk. And he stepped up to him because he used to be a bodyguard for Van Damme. And he was talking crazy to him because he was drunk. And then he's also a good martial artist too. And Chuck popped him and knocked him out on the floor. And so he was like, yeah, what about Chuck Zito? And so next thing you know, he says something weird. I don't know what he said, but then Jason walks right over to him. He's like, don't punk me. And the extended cut of that, because they only show the video of that now. There was a little bit longer video where you see Jason like literally grab him by the back of the neck and have him up against the wall. And he's kind of like, what are you going to do? And I know, studying Muay Thai, what was getting ready to happen.
He was going to knee him in the face, like come up with a knee, right?
A knee was going to happen or an elbow was going to happen, very fast. Because he had him control. When he's got him by the neck, he's got him in control. And Van Damme did not want any part of that, And by that time, everybody had jumped in, pulled everybody apart and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like Van Damme would have gotten hurt by Jason. Jason's not to be played with. Neither is Dolph Lundgren. That's what Dolph said when they first went on set for Universal Soldier. They had never met. And Van Damme, was doing his thing, doing some kicks and doing some punches. And, Dolph was bare knuckles Kyokushin champion. Kyokushin's a very brutal style. I mean, it's bare knuckles. You can stomp people in the crotch. They don't care, and Dolph came from that house.
Crotch shots?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll show you videos of Dolph, like, just literally stomping on somebody's stuff. Yeah, they don't care. Dolph was Kyokushin's a very, very hard style. It's very rough, very brutal. And he's one of the best at it. Him, Michael Jai's another one, known for Kyokushin. Yeah. Very good. So, next thing you know, Van Damme didn't know that. He thought he was just the big, strong guy. And next thing you know, there's a roundhouse coming towards him. And he didn't see it. And he was like, whoa, because Dolph is a lot stronger and faster than what people think. And he's just like, yeah, he's like, but we didn't have a problem. He said, we were fine. We actually became cool with each other. We got along. Michael Jai was in the first Universal Soldier, but you barely see him at the Vietnam scene in the very beginning. He's with Van Damme. Mm-hmm. And so he was with both of them too. And he's like, yeah, we got along great. But he's like, I don't know. Jason and Van Damme, like, it just didn't mix.
Oil and water. In the chat, Drew, did you ever meet Pat Johnson, the ref from Karate Kid?
Oh, the legendary Pat Johnson. I never got to meet Pat Johnson. I was a fan. I knew Pat Johnson when he worked with Chuck Norris. I was familiar with him with that. And then when he was in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. I love Pat Johnson. I had hoped to meet him one day, and I never got the opportunity to meet him, but he was a fantastic martial artist, and he did some fabulous stunt work for people for years. And I was a huge fan. And I'm sorry that he passed before I got a chance to meet him.
He was the one who choreographed all the fights in the Karate Kid movies. I think all three of them, right? At least 1 and 3. At least 1 and 3. And he has his own action figure in the Karate Kid toy line from like Remco, where he's the ref in the ring when you buy the All Valley tournament ring. Yeah, Pat Johnson's one of the figures you can get. So I want to talk. So let's talk about, because what I want to talk about before we even started, let's talk about the new He-Man. Have you seen the new He-Man movie?
Of course I did.
Okay. I want your thoughts on it, and I want to know what your thoughts were on the first He-Man movie too, the 87.
Okay.
So like, just let me know. Yeah, just let me know what you thought about the first one though, and we'll just kind of talk about that. Because that was my favorite. Someone asked, that was one of my favorite movies I've seen recently. The He-Man movie. I liked it a lot.
I gave it 2 solid thumbs up. I was very impressed with what they did. They kept it as original as they could. They had to put some jokey joke stuff in it. Yeah, we all could have done without some of it. But if that's the deal for the little that they had, I'll take it. Because it could have been a whole fiasco of craziness of that. But they chose not to. I was very impressed with the He-Man movie. Idris Elba was fantastic as Man-at-Arms.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of people were pissed off because they, like, Man-at-Arms supposed to be white. And it's like, dude, he's so good in this role that all I saw was Man-at-Arms. Like,
yeah, that's what you see. He's that good.
So good.
And he fits right in. They didn't pick him because of the skin color thing. They picked him because he could deliver the part. And
it's perfect.
That was the important thing. Yeah.
Fucking, excuse my language, perfect. He's perfect in that role.
And he was so good, and I'm glad they picked him for his skills, and that's what works. If you pick someone for their color, that's one thing. If you pick somebody for their skills, that's a whole nother thing. And he was picked for his skills. I really liked it. I thought Evil Lynn was great. I wish we had more time with everybody because they did such a great job, and then they mentioned Avion.
She-Ra at the end of the movie. Oh, Stratos. Yeah, yes. They're going to Avion. Yeah. They're going to Stratos. See Stratos. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love Stratos. Every He-Man fan loves Stratos. So it's like, oh, they're going to go there. And then they talk about, they get into the She-Ra thing. And it's like, oh my goodness. So the next movie is really going to be the movie if they do it, because now We don't have to worry about Earth. Now we get to focus in. He's got some time as He-Man, right? Battle
Yeah.
Cat's got some time in. And now we get the full adventure. And we lock right into She-Ra. We lock right into She-Ra.
Yeah.
And we get to Hordak, and we start going. That's going to be some good stuff. Jared Leto, one of his best performances was out of this movie. He was really Skeletor. He wasn't Jared Leto. He was Skeletor, and he got into it, and he really delivered a mix of fear and the comedy we know Joker for Skeletor to have. He kind of put them both together, and it seemed like either he put himself under control or the studio put him under control and said, give us this. Because, Jared Leto can kind of let me improvise, and whatever he did, he made sure he was authentic Skeletor, and he put it down. He looked great. He sounded great. He was imposing. They did everything. The costumes were 100% legit in the movie. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, they nailed the costumes.
You can tell they spent some money on the film. It's really colorful. The CGI is amazing. It felt like I was watching an actual live action version of the cartoon. His He-Man, the transformation scenes are so good. I think one of the only things that I was kind of concerned about was that the person cast, Nick, to play He-Man isn't quite as jacked. A lot of people were upset that he wasn't completely swole. Yeah,
that's true. He's not as big. He's definitely not as big as Dolph Lundgren was.
Who is? Did you like Dolph Lundgren's cameo in the film?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice nod to him. I got to be honest. I was hoping he was going to be on Eternia
instead of the weight room.
Yeah, I was hoping he's going to be on Eternia in some way. I was hoping it was going to be him. And I know this is Frank Langella because he's still alive.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they might do something with the both of them, and maybe what's her name? That played Teela, that's married to Scott Bakula. What's her name?
I know exactly. She was the wife in the movie Taken. I don't know what her name is, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. Gosh, what was her name? Looks a lot like Courtney Cox, actually.
And she also looks like Jean Grey from the X-Men movies.
Chelsea Fields. That's her name.
Is that her name?
Chelsea Fields. Yeah. I thought maybe they would put the three of them. I don't know if Charles Cypher is still alive that played the original Man-at-Arms. I don't know.
I don't know if he's still alive either.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to look that up and actually know, is he still around? If he is, he'd probably be really, really up there in age. But, I was hoping they would kind of give them somewhat a cameo in some way,
Yeah.
Because she was also a solid gold dancer. And so I thought maybe, when they had him in the gym, maybe they'll have her, run through with some leg warmers on or something like that.
I'm losing track. The new He-Man movie, didn't do that great at the box office, but on Amazon Prime, it's been their #1 movie the last 2 weeks.
That was the smartest deal, was that Amazon was part of the production side, of doing this, because then they had access to put it up on their streaming. And then people came and saw it, had #1, and really went, wow, we should have seen it. Because here's the thing. If they can't do a theater release, guess what? Amazon can pay for it and stream it there, and you could still get it.
And you could do an Amazon Prime release, and it would be huge. It would be huge. Yep. That's another thing. In the Legend of the White Dragon, it's like they could have, if they would have figured something out, they could have had some sort of release on a streaming platform. I know that Aaron wanted to put it on Netflix or one of the streaming apps, but nobody wanted it. Is that correct?
Right. That's okay. So what I heard was they were looking at that if they couldn't get a theater release to stream it. And I don't think that the big streaming services were as interested at the time. Doesn't mean they could be interested later on, but I think if Jason was alive, maybe, but it also had to do with the time. Like by the time they had it done, years had gone by. I think if they had maybe done it early on, maybe the deal would have been a little bit better for them to do something like that. Because I don't think the Power Ranger one they did on Netflix, I don't think it did what they thought it was going to do. So that may be something to do with it.
I certainly watched that, but I think Once and Always, I think the problem with the Power Ranger movie you're talking about that was on Netflix, they didn't have JDF. I feel like he would have made a huge difference. Like, no shade at Walter, no shade at David. I just feel like if Jason was the central character in that, it would have drawn a bigger audience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
If you had him and you had Amy Jo, if you had both of them, I think that it would have been a lot different. And then if they had kind of done things to really make it even more extra special, I think it would have, if Austin was there.
He couldn't be there though, because I don't think he could film at the time. But yeah, I think if you would have had Austin, JDF, and Amy Jo with Walter, David, and then Trini's daughter, and that's your squad, that would have been legit.
Yeah, and if they had put Steve there with Catherine and they had brought Karen, not just we're trying to get to you guys, and then they show up and then they got to turn right back around with Johnny. Yeah. If they had all been there to help and play their parts, I think that really would have been, and I would even throw Nakia in the mix.
She was a huge. Yeah, there was a huge part of her. Like they got the Power Rangers Turbo cast. They got screwed over when JDF decided to leave the show. Man, they kind of all got replaced. Like every one of them, right?
Yeah.
They got replaced. They didn't even get to finish the season.
Yeah, because the story about that was that Steve had gone up and was like, I've had it. I can't do this. And he wanted out. Steve wanted out. That's why they gave him the thing they gave him in Turbo. And then a lot of the film crew was like, Saban doesn't come down. He doesn't talk to us. He doesn't try to do a lot for us. So Jason went up and talked to him. And he was like, well, what do you want, Jason? More money? He's like, no, people want some handshakes. They want some regular recognition. They're not asking for money. They just want to be kind of noticed as your team. And they want to talk to you. And you're kind of like avoiding them. And he was just kind of like, and he was just like, he talked to him and he was just like, dude, like, I've had it. Like, and JDF was like, I'm off the show. And he's like, well, if you leave the show, everybody's got to go. That was kind of how it was,
So Haim would have wanted to keep JDF forever, probably.
Yeah. And JDF
if he would have been down.
Yeah. He's just like, okay. I've had it. I've had enough, like, he's like, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and he literally got rid of the whole cast and brought in, whole new people. But Haim knew that you couldn't replace Jason.
He had to be the central figure of the show. Like you could build around him, but you can't remove him.
Yeah, you couldn't. And even I hate giving Austin some credit because I think he's a character, but even with Austin, like you couldn't replace Austin. Nothing against Steve Cardenas, but we all know like Rocky was not up to Jason, not even close.
No, Jason was the way that he did. Austin, there's a reason why Austin is still so popular, even after all this stuff. It's just his character. He did a good job. He was believable. He was the original leader. He was even good as the Gold Ranger. The Gold,
Oh yeah.
like he did a good job. He's made questionable decisions in his personal life. It's bled over in how people think about him. Honestly, it's sad.
I
He could
met
have just
Austin
shut
as a
up.
kid, and I wasn't impressed. I met him when I was a kid, and I was all
Really,
excited.
he
To
wasn't.
meet him. Yeah, he was very standoffish. Twee and Walter were cool, and Twee was great, very sweet. Walter was very fun. Um, but yeah, Austin was very standoffish. Like he just didn't want to be there like the whole time.
He wasn't feeling.
And it was nothing but kids. Like what was I, 12 at the time? And like I think I was 12, and so like the oldest kid was probably 13 out of that whole place at Victor Valley College in California, and everybody else was under that. So you got a whole mess load of
Okay.
nothing but kids, and you got a crappy attitude. You see what I mean? And it's just
Yeah,
kind
he
of
should
like,
have been like stoked to be there, and like. Plus, I think at that point when you met them, they weren't even on the show,
no, they were
right?
gone. Yeah,
This was
this is
after
right when the first movie had come out. This was right when
'95.
it happened. Yeah, it just happened. It was that opening weekend, and they had a show at Victor Valley College where you could meet Walter, Austin, and Twee. And it was really expensive. The pictures were expensive. I remember that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get a picture, but it was offered to me to get one. My mom's friend offered to pay, but I thought Austin was such a character, and I was just like, I don't even want the picture. That's how it was.
Wow. It's funny when they say don't meet your heroes. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes because it's like maybe you just meet them on a bad day, or maybe you meet them like there are reasons. But sometimes if you hear that story enough times, it's like you hear it like
Yeah.
50 times. Like
Yeah,
there's got to be something to it, man.
he was not very friendly. Twee and Walter were probably the friendliest ones. Um, and they were very, generous and very nice and very talkative. And Austin he didn't really want to talk. And, he just wanted to answer a question quick. He just looked like he wanted to get out of there. And I was just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
heck, you even come,
Yeah, for a paycheck, obviously. And he was probably, dude. Like I've rewatched, like I haven't done it in a while, but I was going back for Slash Tracks and I was rewatching some of the Power Rangers episodes from
Mhm.
MMPR, and I'd like do reviews. The episode that I always thought was like, even as a kid, I saw this scene and I'm like, when they do power transfer and Jason becomes the White Ranger and he's the leader, and they cut to Austin and he's like, "This is great." Do you remember him saying this is great? Like
Yeah, I do.
that
I
was
do.
that was like some of the worst writing ever. They could have easily had some sort of they could have had a whole episode or 2 episode arc where Austin's having a hard time with it. Like with the fact that he's no longer going to be the leader, like maybe struggling with did he do a good enough job or not. It was really weird even for a kids show.
It was strange. And a lot of people were like, no, it's bad. And it's just like, they had no choice because they were leaving the show. So
So
who
they
else are you going to put in the spot? Like him. That's it. They're leaving the show. It's not like I want to be the leader. Jason Abrams Frank didn't care about being the leader. As a Green Ranger, he just like doing his thing. He was cool with that. And he's like, I don't want to be the leader. I never wanted to be the leader. They made me be the leader. He's like, I didn't ask for that.
yeah.
He's like, I didn't want it. He's like, that's Austin's thing. Like, he's a leader. Let him be the leader.
Sometimes like just naturally that kind of stuff happens though, because like I can't picture him as not the leader.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting, and Steve Cardenas, when he replaced the Red Ranger, his character was just so not believable, and I don't know if that's Steve's fault or if that's the way they wrote him. I just didn't buy
Well,
Rocky as a stud.
what Jason had said was like Steve's whole thing was like he just looked at it like whatever. And Jason was telling him like, all right, if you're gonna do this, don't be late, don't do this, don't show up. And he says Steve would show up late. Steve just didn't care. Like, so they probably would have wrote him a little bit better, but he like just didn't care. Like Johnny cared. That's why Johnny's character did better. And you have to think about it. Johnny was the standout out of those three. He was, and he's the one every original Power Ranger fan liked. Like, they're like, yeah, we can do without those two, but we'll take Johnny. You know, Johnny's great. You know, because Johnny,
we like Johnny. And Johnny could have easily fit into the original. Like Walter, Walter was great. I'm not saying Walter wasn't great. That's my Black Ranger. I love Walter. But if I had to swap one out, if you made me, I could take Johnny, and he could roll with the other five, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would say switch out. We need Billy to do some of that technology stuff, but you know,
yeah.
But Johnny's a great Ranger. He's proven himself. He listened to what JDF said, and he did very well. You know, like people that listen to, like, when JDF figured out how it works there, and he would clue in everybody and help everybody. If you listen, you did well. You have to think, like, he was the one taking Catherine Nakia down to the Red Dragon, Rising Sun karate studio once he got it. And he was training them, teaching them how to, you know, do more so they could be safe on set and have more to offer. And I mean, he didn't have to do that. But
no, he didn't have to do that at all. He could have easily just been like, I'm going home. I've got kids and a wife. Like, I'll see you later. Like,
he made sure everybody was practicing. Everybody was tight. Everybody was doing well. Everybody knew how to do things. Everybody knew, like, the protocol, you know, like even with his brother. That's what I said. Like, JDF's brother didn't listen. You know, Eric didn't listen. He told Eric, he's like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And Eric did everything he shouldn't have done. And he's like, you're going to end up at that peace conference, you know? And that's what happened, because he was supposed to be the Gold Ranger.
Eric and JDF, I think, was like really upset that his brother didn't get the role, because he wanted I think his brother was jealous of JDF. I think that had a lot of problems. Offset, am I off base with that, or was he maybe not jealous, or maybe he wanted that spot, or I don't know.
Okay, so him and Eric, from what I understand, Eric was like, man, I could act too. You know, he was a lot like that. It wasn't he was jealous. He was just like, I could do that too. You could do it. I could do that too. And he's like, listen, man, it's not as easy as you think. And then he got on set, and then all right, lights, camera, action, do your part. And he was like, what? And he's like, man, you got to do it right. And he's like, see, you think you can do it, but it's not easy. So it was a lot like that. He just felt he could do anything Jason could do. He felt like he could do it, you know, kind of a thing. And it wasn't a jealousy thing. It was just, I'm the older brother. My younger brother, I could do it too. But then he found out he couldn't do it that easy, you know? And Jason was like trying to tell him, like, okay, let's work on this. He's like, no, man, I got it. And he's like, no, like, it's not going to work. And Eric never listened. That was the whole thing about Eric, you know? But he was supposed to be the Gold Ranger, you know? That was the whole deal. But they couldn't, you know, get him. And, you know, Austin ended up in the slot, you know, taking that, which was fine. You know, Austin did his thing, but Austin's hard to work with. You know, him and JDF, you know, that's not a good mix. They
don't get along.
No,
they don't get along. And then I heard that David Yost was supposed to be the Gold Ranger too, or there was rumors of that.
There was rumors of him possibly doing that, but I think around that time, that's when he was having a lot of problems. Like the problems really kind of got out of hand on set, and he was looking at you know leaving. You know, so I think it could have been something, but I think it was more in question because he was trying to leave the show due to the problems on set. You know, that was kind of the thing about it, you know. And it's like that Turbo movie, you know, like if you had David Yost, if they had worked out something for him to come back, you would have had a good section of the original team there, you know?
Yeah, Amy Jo, Austin, JDF, and then David Yost. You would have 4 of the 6.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know if Walter would have done it. I know Walter regretted not doing the movie.
Yeah,
Big
he's
time.
talked about he's talked about how much money he should have made from it, or how much money the movie would have made with the original, which I don't disagree with. I think the movie would have made a lot of money if the original cast was in it. It probably would have been a bigger hit.
Oh, for sure. If they had done it like that, but Walter can't speak too hard about that because remember he had Space Cases.
Yeah, he had the show on Nickelodeon, right? Like right after
He
that.
was, yeah, he was the lead guy. Do you know the reason why season 2 didn't happen was because of him?
He wanted more money.
What
Again, he
happened
did the same
was
thing again.
he jumped ship to do a show that Aaron Spelling was supposed to be doing. And he jumped
Okay.
ship to do that show. So he left to do that. And they were like, well, if the lead
Yeah.
guy's not in the show, we can't do season 2. They were going to do season 2, more money. And he
Yeah.
was getting paid a lot of money and they were going to up that. But he decided that a better career move was to do the Aaron Spelling thing. So instead of doing both, working it out where he could check that out to see if it was going to work out, but still keep Space Cases, he completely jumped ship both feet into Aaron Spelling. And then it didn't happen. So he was just out. Yeah.
He constantly made the wrong choice professionally.
He did.
He would like whatever Walter would do, just do the opposite. He would, like, seriously,
Walter
man.
messed himself up. And it's just like, he's like, oh man, this and that. It's like, dude, you could have had so much more if you actually did. And look at the convention circuit. JDF talked about that. He's like, I would tell Walter, yeah, I'll do stuff with you. But Walter would do he would want this and Walter would want that. And he want double the money. And he was like, no, dude.
Guaranteed money and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. He messed it up because if he had listened to JDF like Font did, like Johnny did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had no problem on the convention scene. But again, he wants to do his own thing and he's listening to Austin. So, I mean, you can go with Austin, but you're not going to make what you would. And
yeah,
it's not going to work out, because that's why when he and Amy Jo would show up, sell out. It was a huge deal. And that was the thing about it. And it was just like, if Austin could set aside, because it wasn't Jason, it was Austin that had that would not set aside that. Everybody knew that. He talked about on the red carpet for the remake movie when they were all there.
What did he say? What did he say?
He said, oh yeah, there's pictures of it where you see them both talking. And he's like, hey man, I've been trying to reach out to you. I've been trying to email you so we can, hopefully get a solid reunion going. And Austin was like, he's like, I'll never do stuff with you. I don't want to be in the room with you. I'm not going to do that. He was like that. And so JDF was like, all right. But he's like, he let everybody know. I tried to talk to him about a reunion. I was willing to set things aside to do it for you guys, but he didn't want to do it. And that was the thing. It was like, because he's like, and Amy doesn't like doing stuff with Austin either. But if I was there, she would have done it. So he's like, look, guys, you could have had all of us together, of course, minus Twee, unfortunately. And that was the plan he was trying to do. He was trying to get everybody in Mighty Morphin together and then do a convention for free, do a get together for free for the fans and then go on the road. And he said, then it would have really built up and it really would have been something. But he's like, I couldn't get everybody to agree. Everybody was like, oh,
they
probably
do something for free to generate the buzz, have goodwill, and then go out there from city. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people don't have the foresight to know that sometimes you have to spend money to make money. That's the same thing with anything. You can't just jump into it. That's not how business works. You have to have some sort of investment in your product or you or whatever. Yeah, that shit doesn't work like with.
Let me see.
What's
somebody asked my favorite martial art movie. My favorite martial art movies. I'll answer this question for you guys. I don't want to think I forgot about you guys. I see you. Favorite martial art movie of all time would probably be Way of the Dragon, which is where Bruce Lee fights Chuck Norris. Enter the Dragon, Fist of Fury, the Big Boss, or depending if you're in America, Fist of Fury and Chinese Connection got jumped around, depending on the name. The actual version of Game of Death, which is Warrior's Journey, Rapid Fire, Brandon Lee.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, Brandon was pretty prime in that movie. And I would say The Last Dragon, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. Timok was awesome.
Okay.
I would probably say Bloodsport would probably be next. Let me see. I like No Retreat, No Surrender a lot. If you guys have seen that.
Where do you put Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain on your list?
Nowhere.
With the Hulkster.
Nowhere.
We're talking about, dude.
Hulk Hogan could go jump a cliff.
Hulk Hogan, is one of the most controversial people that I've ever admired. He's such a piece of shit in real life, but his on-screen, Hulk Hogan, meant so much to me as a kid growing up, and I followed him. I followed his whole career, and he just did so many terrible things in real life. Seriously, he was not faithful to any woman he was probably ever married to. Him and his daughter Brooke had no relationship when he died, which Brooke is now messed up, I think, for life for that. I've seen some of Brooke's posts and stuff. She's definitely messed up. He was a racist. At least proven racist. Did a lot of really terrible things behind the scenes to his coworkers, co-wrestlers. Such a weird, Brett was right about him the whole time.
He was. Brett
was.
Name, date, places, people. He did. He said Beefcake was with him in the hallway. He had the whole thing out. Brett knew. It wasn't just, he's like, I was on this day, this person was there, that person was there, and this happened. And Brett was 100% right all the way about Hogan. 100% right about Hogan. That's the thing. He was 100% right. And that was the thing about people. Iron Sheik was right about Hogan. Remember?
What did Sheik say about Hogan?
Because remember, he left to go to Verne Gagne's production. Remember, he jumped ship to go to Verne Gagne.
To the AWA at Minnesota.
And Verne Gagne said, Sheik, if you wrestle him, he's jumped ship, went back to WWF. If you wrestle him, break his leg.
In the ring.
Break his leg. He said, break his leg, because he wasn't happy about that business deal. And Sheik's like, I didn't break his leg. I was fair with him. And Hogan told me after he took the belt, because remember, Sheik had the belt.
Yeah, Sheik was the transitional champion from Backlund to Hogan.
Yeah, and he said,
What did Hogan tell him?
He said, oh, brother, I owe you, I'm going to make it right. I'm going to do all these things. And he said, Hogan didn't do none of that stuff. He said, Hogan did none of that stuff. He's like, I made that guy, I made him. I didn't break his leg, and I made him, and he didn't do nothing to help me out. He was like, not one thing. He's like, he definitely did not.
Sheik was a legit amateur
wrestler, freestyle wrestler,
college Olympic wrestler, and he was also a bodyguard for the Shah of Iran. He was the real, and he would also do those damn clubs, those Persian
clubs. Yeah, those condition he did too. Everybody said, I can barely do one. That guy came out swinging two like this, like it was nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And one of my favorite Sheik stories was he had 3 or 4 daughters. He had no boys. All of his kids were girls. And some of the stories they'd tell about how they'd bring a guy over to meet their dad, and their dad would be kind of he'd put him through a workout. before they could like take the daughter out. Like he'd put them through a full blown workout. Like,
That's
and he
that's
was
the
like very
Sheik.
protective.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Sheik was tough. Sheik was the real deal, you know, and he spoke about Hogan, and he was telling the truth, you know,
Yeah,
and people that knew about Hogan's dealings, you know, they knew, and they knew how he worked, you know, like Scott Steiner said it for years. He did. He said, I don't like Hogan. He said he was a racist. He said he was terrible. He's like, he was
hmm
hard to work with. He's like, he made sure he had the best deal. He's like, and he did all kinds of stuff to knock over people's careers. He knew, you know?
the Hogan racism stuff like hit me so hard because when I was a kid and when you were a kid, with the same age, dude, they made it
Mhm.
look like him and Junkyard Dog were best friends.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I never that never even crossed my mind one time. And even when they filmed Hogan Knows Best, Brooke was trying to be a singer, so she would work with hip hop artists, and Nick liked rap, and Hogan was listening to Young Jeezy. And then I just did I also didn't like that when he got caught, he didn't just own it. It's like, listen, man, that was wrong. I am so wrong. I don't even make excuses for it and
Yeah.
then try to fix it. Like he just like tried to deflect it. Do you remember that? He
I
couldn't
do. And
he
I saw
couldn't
an
just
interview with Mark Henry too. Mark Henry had a story. He said he
what did
went to
Mark say?
Hogan. He said, I went to Hogan and I said, listen, I'm going to help you out. He's like, we're going to go do some talks at some colleges. We're going to go to some HBCUs. We're going to try to clean up your image. I'm going to help you out. And then Hogan's like, I don't want to do none of that. And Mark was like, are you serious? He's like, I don't want to do none of that stuff, man. Like, no, no. And when people would talk to him about it, he's like, no, man, I don't want to, I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to do this, you know? And Devon Dudley said, you know, every time Hogan would mess up, Hogan would come to Devon, man, I'm not, I'm messed up, man. I'm not like that. And he said, he kept doing it. And Devon's like, dude, you got a problem. Like, this is not good. And people would try to get him to
Yeah.
clean his stuff up, but he wouldn't, you know? That was the
You
thing
can't
about it.
you can't say you're not one way if you keep doing it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like that and then just
Macho
the
had
stuff
said
with his
something too about that. Think about it.
what did Macho say?
Macho had said for years that Hogan like messed up his career because you remember they were always the two, you know? And he said, yeah, he knocked over his career. And he admitted, he's like, yeah, Hogan's a racist. And he was just like, dude, Hogan is not only a racist, he's an opportunist everywhere he can get. He was like, Macho was like, I put guys over whether if I lost or won. Hogan always had to win. Hogan always had to be on top. Hogan always had to do things his way, no matter if the story made sense or not. He's like, he always had to be that guy. He's like,
Mhm.
that's why some of us were excited when Warrior showed up because they were like, oh, he's gonna get it back, you know, because like they're gonna put this guy over, you know, and now Hogan, you know, is gonna have something to worry about, you know, and that was the whole thing about Warrior, you know, but Warrior was kind of, you know, he had his own thing going on too, you know.
He had a lot of Warrior had a lot of personal demons he was carrying around from his childhood, and it came out in his adult life because he was like his dad left their house when he was like 11 or
Yeah,
12 or something like that. Never came back. Lived in the same town. Like Warrior would see his dad in town, but not at the house. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like he'd see him. Oh, there's my dad's truck at the bar or something like that. And then the mom had to raise all the boys. And I think Warrior was really skinny as a kid, so weight's kind of like changed his life a little bit. And yeah, Warrior had to have everything his own way. He had to have his own dressing room. He had to have more pay than anybody else. He had never could lose ever. I thought that there was a point at when they had the SummerSlam at Wembley where Brett and Davey main evented the SummerSlam.
yeah,
The match that was supposed to be the main event was supposed to be Macho and Warrior, but the reason that wasn't the main event was because Vince wanted to have Warrior turn heel and become a champion as the heel bad guy Warrior. And Warrior's like, I can't do that. I have to be the babyface. And Vince is like, well, if that's the case, we're just gonna have a double count out or whatever, a disqualification, and we're gonna put Brett and Davey on last. So there you go. So that's what I heard happened. Have you heard anything similar to that?
I did, that Warrior wanted to do things a certain way. What was it? Dustrucity? What he had going?
That was a word that he made up.
Yeah.
Dustrucity.
And Warrior had his own gimmick thing going on. He was like, Warrior was on his own.
A mark. He was a mark for himself.
And he was dangerous to wrestle, you had to be careful with that dude. I mean, he could hurt you pretty quick because he was just like, he was not really ready. I was hoping when Kerry came. Yeah. I was hoping when Kerry came that Kerry would kind of help him out a little bit, But Kerry had his, he had his own demons kind of going on. But I was hoping that Kerry would help him because Kerry at least knew what he was doing. But, Kerry had his own thing going on at the time. But I was hoping Kerry would kind of help him out. But, I mean, Warrior, they said he was in the dressing room, was by himself. He really didn't have any friends,
Owen, Dynamite, but Dynamite was gone real quick. Davey Boy was one of his friends, but Davey Boy was doing crack, according to the Ultimate Warrior. Like they were doing like street drugs and stuff. And Warrior didn't do that.
Yeah,
we're doing like crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And that's why Brett. Yeah.
Why did Brett? What?
That's why Brett, when he speaks about Davey, he's like, yeah, I love Davey. He was talented, but Davey had issues. He's like, I love Jim, but Jim had issues. That's why Brett's so close to Natalya, because Brett had to throw a lot of interference for those kids, between Davey's kids and between Jim's kids. Brett really kind of had to step in. I think Brett and Owen really had to step in a lot because the things that Jim and Davey were doing, you have to think about that.
How many times do you think, and I don't have any record of this or any proof, but like how many times do you think Brett had to step in and pay bills for other members of his family because it's his family? And it's like, okay, well, Jim Neidhart doesn't have a job right now, so got to pay the rent because it's his sister and Natty's there and all the other kids. So it just makes me wonder if Brett had to do that.
Brett and Owen probably had to pay a lot of money and had to do a lot of things for those guys. I would say that was probably done a whole lot, and you have to think that also extends out to Dynamite. Mm-hmm. There's probably a lot of stuff he probably did for Dynamite, there was a lot, and Stu and Helen, things they probably had to do too along the way. So, I mean, like Brett, I was like, I know Brett's my favorite and you guys are really Drew's bias, but Brett, on the real guys, Brett did a lot for a lot of people. Like people don't understand how much Brett did. Like Mark Henry to this day talks about Brett and Owen because he would not have had his wrestling career go the way that it did had it not been for him, because they put him in the ring and he wasn't ready yet. And Brett and Owen worked with them and they were like, ooh, they were like, who trained you? Did they tell you some things? And he was like, not really. And he was like, and Brett went and said, hey, I'm going to work it out. So they said, cool, I got it worked out. We're going to take you down to the dungeon and we're going to get you ready. Me and Owen, and when Davey's there, work with you, keep, he's like, I kept an eye on the kids, and I was there and they had me there at the dungeon. And I worked with Stu, the whole family helped, and they got me seasoned. And I have my wrestling career because of Brett and Owen. He's like, people don't realize, like, they didn't have to do that. But Brett was the top guy. He's like, that's what people don't understand. Yeah. Brett would be the top guy. And he would come to me, or he would come to Ken Shamrock. He would come to all the new guys, take them under his wing. Owen would do the same, make sure everybody's seasoned out, making sure they know how things work. They took their time. They didn't have to do that. And he's like, so
Hogan would never have done
Hogan,
that, dude.
Hogan never would have done a fourth of that. Shawn Michaels never would have done a fourth of that. Okay? Like, that's the thing. So when people are like, oh, Shawn or this or Hogan, it's like they didn't help anybody. Bret was the only one that actually sat with people and talked with people, brought people in, made them feel like they were part of the team, made them feel that they were welcome, making sure everybody was up to stuff. He didn't have to do that, but that's how Bret was. That's when everybody talked about when he went to WCW. They said, oh, Bret, this is your green room. He said, I don't want a green room. Put me in here with all the other guys. I want to be in here with all the other guys. And that's what Perry Saturn said. He said Bret was like a real legend and a real pro. He considered himself to be one of the guys, one of the hardworking guys. And that's how he always kind of came at things. He's like, so people don't understand that because Shawn Michaels had his own green room, Hogan, Nash, Hall, all those guys in the NWO were all trying to follow Hogan to get in the limos, to get in all that stuff, to get that connect, that power that they had. And, that was the thing about it. So, nothing against Kevin Nash, nothing against Scott Hall, but let's be honest. Those guys were out for themselves completely. That's why when Bret came to WCW, because they could renegotiate their contracts, right? Immediately. They Bret, how much you getting paid? Oh, you're paying them this much? We want this much. They were always
and they had to match it. Yeah, because they had that favored nations contract or something like that, where if Drew was one of the wrestlers and Drew's making $20 million. And then I come in, but Drew has it in his contract that whatever Alex gets paid, if it's more, you got to match me.
That's right.
Crazy. That is a crazy. So does that mean that when those guys got bumped, did Hogan get bumped too? Because Hogan had that crazy ass contract too.
That's right. That's right. So they get bumped. They tell Hogan. Hogan gets bumped. They're taken care of, and they're set in. And you have to think, this is how good of a dude Sting is. When did you ever hear about Sting doing anything like this? Never.
I never heard. I never heard any of that. Never, Drew. Not one time. All I've ever heard about Sting is that he's a Christian and he's a family man. I've never heard anything bad about that person.
No.
I've never heard anything bad about him.
He was a good dude. Even before he was a Christian, he was a good dude. Bret talked about that. He said Sting was so gracious. He was very kind. He was a pro. He was fantastic to ride on the road with. He was just an all-around good dude. He said he was great. He said Booker T was great. Stevie Ray was great. All the guys that they really should have really been pushing and really worked with were all the fantastic guys. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
And it's but these are the guys the company wasn't pushing. Why weren't they pushing Curt Hennig? Curt Hennig would go, his back would be broken, and we need you to do a match. Here comes Curt Hennig.
Curt, dude, he put Bret over when Curt couldn't even walk. He barely tie his shoes. I don't think he could tie his shoes for that match where Bret won the IC belt from Perfect. I think Perfect was doing him a favor because he respected Bret so much.
That's right.
Perfect made people. Piper never let anybody pin him or submit him in the history of his professional wrestling career. But who's the one guy who beat him cleanly? Bret at WrestleMania 7, dude. Was it WrestleMania 7 or was it WrestleMania 8? It might have been WrestleMania 8. I think it was WrestleMania 8.
I think it was 8 where that happened.
Yeah, I think it was 8. And that, by the way, Bret versus Piper was the IC match. That was probably the best match on that card. Hogan and Sid was not the best, and Flair Macho was not the best. The best match on that card was Bret and Piper.
That's the thing about it is you had guys like Piper, like Kurt, Rick Rude. Let's get into Rick Rude. Rick Rude had everything you could want in a wrestler, and he got slighted so much.
Body, mic skills, charisma, the look. The problem with him is he was so valuable as a heel that Vince didn't know he needed Rude to get Warrior over and to keep Warrior under control in the ring. Rude got screwed over because he was there at the exact same time that Warrior was there.
Yeah.
That's
What were you
the
gonna
thing about it.
What were you going to say
Rick
about
Rude-
Rude though? Give me.
I loved Rick Rude. Rick Rude is one of my favorite professional wrestlers. I'm still upset that he does not have a box set. There's no Rick Rude box set
He
for
was
him.
world champ. He was a world champion in WCW, by the way.
Yes, he
was
was.
the world champ when he hurt his back against Sting. That was a world title match.
Yeah. And that's WCW's fault because people are like, did Sting do? No, Sting didn't do anything. It was the way they built that ring, with the fold up, and it was still kind of up, which
And
is
he hit
the stupidest thing you could have done.
Basically smashed his lower back on concrete, basically. Like on a not flat concrete either, like an edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad deal. No box set for Rude. No. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He is in the Hall of Fame. I think they put him. I think he was put in the Hall of Fame for what I remember. They put him in, but no box set. It's like he doesn't have a box set. The Steiner brothers don't have a box set. I'm glad they finally did figures for them, but there's no box set of all their matches. And then Booker T. There's no box set for Booker T.
Booker T had like WCW run, WWF run, TNA run. Booker T was like over anywhere he went.
Yep. No box
Booker
set.
T was the man. Booker T was legit. Like he was the real deal. And I think WWE partially owns part of TNA now. Am I correct on this? Or they own they work together at least? Maybe they don't own it, but
sure.
they definitely.
I gotta look that up. That's it.
I think they. Can you look that up for me, or look like? I think WWE either own a piece of TNA or they have a cross promotion deal. Because I know TNA wrestlers like Jordan Grace and a couple other TNA wrestlers showed up in WWE at Royal Rumbles while they were still in TNA. So
it's so weird about Mark Henry doesn't have a box set.
House of Pain, it sells itself, dude. The opening box could be him, and you're entering the House of Pain where all the discs are.
I know. It's like you got the world's strongest man, literally,
legitimately,
and proven it every time.
Even when he was older,
have a box set for him.
He like when he was world champion, they never let him have like a long enough run as the world champion. It was like he was so believable as like this ass kicker. I don't know. They just always cut it short. They'd make him champion and then he would drop it. Like, I don't know if you remember that at all. Like, he would never have the belt very long. Yeah. And I don't know that, like, maybe Vince didn't think that Mark needed the belt because his gimmick was that he was, Mark Henry, the world's strongest man. So maybe he didn't even need a belt in Vince's opinion. I know sometimes they put belts on guys just because they know they need the prop. So, I don't know. Like,
it's ridiculous that the way some of these guys get their deals and the treatment that they get is really messed up, because when they really want to praise somebody, they'll go really praise them.
They'll roll out the red carpet. They'll make everybody look like they're $1 million.
Yeah. And I know Sting gets his accolades, but I still feel that he should have gotten a little bit more than what he did in a lot of ways.
For WWE or like
for WWE, I feel just because the way WCW ended, I felt that there was so much more in the tank for Sting to do. And they just, by the time they got him, they just played him out. It was just it wasn't good. And I still say to this day, when Brett came to WCW, in a perfect world, it should have been Sting and Brett together on a team against the NWO. And in a perfect world, Owen gets out of his contract, joins with his brother. Anvil and Davey are with him. Right?
You have the New Heart Foundation.
You got the New Heart Foundation with Sting on the team, and you got Booker T on the team because, remember, Stevie Ray went to NWO.
That would be, dude. You're literally rewriting history, and I would have paid to see that. I
Yeah.
would have, and instead, what we got was Jeff Jarrett leading the new NWO as the leader with Brett and like Scott Hall. I think I can't remember exactly.
It was lame. I know Stevie Ray was one of the leaders of a faction of the NWO, which I thought, okay, that's a move up for him, but it was all backwards. It was like, why, it's like they had the NWO and they had a bunch of guys that were just beating up everybody. It's like Brett and Sting should have had their group, of people, and it's just like they could have had, the Hart family with All and Booker T and the Canadian wrestlers. So Jericho, Benoit, Lance Storm, you could have had all those guys together, and then that would have been their faction to be Team WCW against, the NWO. That would have been perfect.
It would be perfect, but the problem is when they were doing that, the NWO still had Hulkster, and he was the one signing off on everything. So it's like maybe something similar to that was addressed, and we would never know because Hulk Hogan, him and Bischoff were best friends, man.
Yeah,
they
were.
They were thick as thieves, man. Sting should have been. The way they should have had Sting in WWE is they should have teased him for like 2 months. They should have had him like a crow symbol maybe, or maybe have just a crow fly through the top of a stadium, or have him watching. You think it's Sting watching from the balcony, and then when he finally makes his appearance, he drops down with the bat like as Sting. But I don't think they did any of that.
The thing about it was they built Sting and Hogan's match for Starrcade. They built it really good, and then when we got it, it was like it wasn't what it should have been. And then they explained that Hogan and Bischoff didn't think Sting was in the right mindset or ready to do that. And that was the lamest thing I've ever heard. When you and I know Sting was always top player and always ready to go. That was just them screwing over Sting because Hogan wanted to be the man. And he knew that people really rode hard for Sting and he couldn't handle that. That's really what it was about.
It was supposed to be a slow count, right? Or something like they made him, it was supposed to be a slow count or something. Like Sting was supposed to beat him cleanly, right? Wasn't it supposed to, or they made it a fast count? There was something that happened.
Yeah, they made it a fast count and it was bogus. It was like it was supposed to be a really detailed, win over clean, win for WCW against NWO. And they kind of botched the whole thing. And Sting, had the belt, didn't have the belt, he's over here, he's over there, the Wolfpack thing was okay, him and Conan worked really well together. Sting and Conan worked well together. And did their thing.
Bringing mass destruction.
They held it down. You have to think Nash. Remember Nash disappeared for a while? And then Scott Hall was gone for a while, and then Macho was gone for a while, and Luger was kind of in and out. Yeah, Sting and Conan held down the Wolfpack.
Was Hogan ever in the Wolfpack?
What happened was later on, they had the NWO, like the Wolfpack merged with the NWO, so they had the white with the red, so it became the Wolfpack NWO mix, and then Hogan had the white and the red with it, but Sting wasn't a part of that when that was out. Nash was, I think Nash was still there. Conan went to the Filthy Animals. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Hogan was wearing that stupid New York Yankees beanie.
When he was was where he was that's when they did the whole Wolfpack thing. Yeah.
He was wearing, I remember that. The Hogan, and then I also remember when Hogan was finally back as a baby face, but then he was still wearing black gear, and they were using him. They were using him to try to get over Billy Kidman or something.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. And he was in the black, but he was like a good guy. He was giving Sting the shot. And then they went to the yellow. Then they brought it back. Then the night they brought it back. And then they put him in that. I remember that whole switch.
Hogan, like, by that point, he was like 46, 47, and a lot of miles on that body, man. And then when he came, WCW ends with the Vince Russo thing where Jarrett lays down for him, but like they tried to make it seem like Hogan didn't know that was going to happen, but Hogan kind of did know. Apparently, Hogan did know that was going to happen, but he pretended like he pretended like he didn't know it was going to happen. But then Vince Russo like actually defamed Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan on air, and that's why Hogan was pissed off, because he said a bunch of stuff about him personally on air. So Hogan left WCW, came back to WWE. By that point, he was like 48, right? Could barely walk. And he got extremely over after that match with The Rock. But he was like by the time he was done with WCW, he still had star power, but it just wasn't there anymore. Like, but when he came back to WWE, it reignited. Do you think that was all nostalgia?
I think so. It was more nostalgia. I think everybody was over the Hogan thing. I think his time had kind of come. I mean, he's always going to be like, "Oh, it's Hogan," but I think by that time, The Rock had kind of been larger than life. You know, you had The Rock, you had Austin. They had already been larger than life, and Hogan's time had come. It's kind of like when they had Hogan work with Shawn Michaels. You know,
Shawn, that was supposed to be back and forth. They were supposed to have Hogan win one, Shawn win one. It was supposed to go, but Hogan agreed. He's like, "Yeah, I'll win the first one," and then never had a rematch. He said, "We're not doing any rematches. We're not doing any rematches. Doesn't work for Big Brother. I'm going over Shawn clean."
I agreed with Shawn. That's where Shawn really came out righteous on that one, because Shawn was like, "I did what they asked me to do. They wanted me to make him over the top. They want me to make him all invincible, and the power hits when he hits me to really make it look like he's super strong. I did all that stuff." He's like, "It wasn't me being over." He's like, "That's what they told me to do. And I told Hogan that's what I was going to do for him." And then he's like, "Oh, you sold it too much. And you did." It's like, "That's what you told me to do." He's like,
he was selling hard on that match, man. He was bouncing all over the
yeah, that's what they wanted him to do. So it's like, that's what he did. He's like, "I could have taken it down, sure, if that's what they asked, but they said they wanted the grand show, so that's what I gave them." Like,
so, well, that's crazy. You know, Shawn conveniently is a company man when Shawn wants to be the company man, but when he doesn't want to drop the title cleanly, then he's not a company. Then he loses a smile.
Yes.
True.
Yeah. That's the truth. Shawn's always like that. You know, he's always been like that, but he did right by Hogan, and you know, he even did right by Marty Jannetty. I don't care what anybody says. Shawn did right by Marty Jannetty. Marty screwed up his own career.
Yeah, Marty kept doing stupid stuff.
Because when they split, remember, it was supposed to be both of them battling for the Intercontinental Championship. And they did it the first time. Remember, Marty won and got
Marty
the belt.
came out of the ring, challenged him, got the belt. Yes, yeah, I remember.
And then what happened after that? Marty disappeared because Marty got up and just whatever, you know. Shawn handled his business. Marty didn't. So he lost the belt. They brought him back 5, 6, 10, 20 times, you know. Yeah. Even with the Rockers reunion, remember, he came back because Vince asked Shawn, "Do you think we should bring back Marty?" He said, "Yeah." And they brought him back. And then Marty did the same thing he always does. He shows up a little bit. He no-shows. So he did his own career a disservice.
Yeah, he's partying too much. He was constantly like living that 1980s rock and roll lifestyle gimmick forever. That he just always was that guy. And he just recently had his foot amputated, didn't he?
I heard, yes.
Yeah, he had his foot amputated. He like I was listening to oh my goodness. He was the one who Right to Censor, Stevie, what's his name?
Richards?
Stevie Richards podcast. He said that when he wrestled Marty, or he knew that Marty would wrestle and not tie up his boots all the way. For his whole career, he would never tighten his boots, so he was always taking these bumps and these landings on his feet without his boots being tied all the way. So it was like bending his ankle the wrong way or not. It wasn't stable his whole career, which is probably what kind of led to a lot of that foot thing, because he couldn't even, like, his foot was basically dead. Like, how does that happen if you don't have diabetes? That's crazy to me.
Marty always just did things his way, and he paid for it. You know, people try to say, well, Marty, I was like, well, when he went to ECW, his career wasn't much. When he went to WCW, his career wasn't much. That kind of speaks to where he's at. It's because Marty's Marty. Marty can't be stable. Like, the only time Marty was stable was when he was with Shawn and the Rockers for the time that he was with them. You know,
and Shawn was able to, like, all right, hey man, we got to go to bed. Hey, we got to go to the show tomorrow. Hey, like, they're together. So he had somebody to, like, an accountability partner to, like, kind of keep him probably on the straight and narrow. Yeah, Marty Jannetty reminds me a lot of my father. It's like the way he looks, the way they talk. They're same exact generation. My dad's 69. That party, 60s, 70s, smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, like, that's my dad. Rock and roll. It's that's a definite time frame of people I don't know. And my dad's still very much like that, with no wrestling skills at all. My dad, Marty Jannetty, would know. Hey, Drew, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up? You got any stuff you want to talk about?
There's so much for us to talk about. I don't even know where to start. You know, there's so much that's going on. One thing I do, have you been watching X-Men 97?
No, I haven't, but season 2 is coming out, like, right now, right?
Yeah, it's the last episode is next week.
Okay, so it's out right now. No, I'm not watching it. Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have Disney Plus. That's why. I don't have it anymore. I've been a cost-cutting measure, trying to save money.
No, I don't blame you, man. Like, I got it again just so I could see X-Men 97 because, you know, I'm such a big X-Men fan, you know.
I know you are.
Huge X-Men fan. Legitimate X-Men fan.
Yeah, I know
I
that.
didn't jump on this bandwagon like everybody's all, oh, X-Men are cool. I was like, I was X-Men when they weren't cool.
Yeah, back in the late 80s, mid 80s.
I was an X-Men fan back then. I was reading X-Men before they were the thing, you know, and I've always carried the X-Men flag. I don't like where some people have taken them to a point. That's why the comic books aren't great anymore, because they got the wrong people writing for them. So it's not good. But the show, season 1, it was all right. Season 2, in my opinion, is better than 1. Because I feel like they really took things to a level with this one. And the last episode was fantastic. The one before that was really good too. This season's really kicked out a lot of good stuff, and I've been really impressed with it. And I'm glad to see my guy Chris Potter, the original voice of Gambit, who I know. He's Cable in the show now.
Who's Gambit in the show? Is Gambit in the show?
They got a younger actor to do it because they felt his voice might be too old sounding, which I heard it's still the same. They made him Cable, and Cable's like a big centerfold in season 2. So I'm glad that he's, you know, doing his thing. But I wish he was still Gambit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was.
Is Wolverine? Is the Wolverine voice the same?
It is the same actor, Cal Dodd. So Rogue's the same, Wolverine's the same, Beast is the same, Nightcrawler's the same, Colossus is the same.
That's so cool that they were able to do this.
Sabretooth's voice passed away because he was really old. Magneto's passed away. Professor X passed away, so they had to replace them. They got a new guy for Bishop. I don't know why the original actor is still alive. He had the coolest voice, really cool voice. I felt, and I believe the original Cable's still alive. They had a great thing. I don't know why they decided to do that. They have a new Archangel voice. It's not the original anymore. I don't know why they did that. Jubilee, they didn't want to get in trouble because the original Jubilee was not Asian. So they got an Asian actress to play Jubilee. And Allison Court got put on the sideline.
The first episode of X-Men from the original X-Men was about Jubilee, wasn't it?
Yep.
Do you remember that correctly? They were like recruiting her to be in the X-Men, and she was running through the mall, right? She was like learning how to use her powers. Yeah, I remember that. X-Men was one of those cartoons when I was a kid. It was like, it was so like, it was almost like appointment viewing. I think I remember it came on at 10 o'clock on Fox. Was it 10 o'clock?
It came on at 10:30. Yeah.
Okay, and I just remember being like, I don't care where I am, I don't care what I'm doing. My ass needs to be up on Saturday in front of Fox at 10 o'clock in the morning because we're gonna watch. And I also remember around the same time that the X-Men originally came out in the cartoon, they came out with the X-Men arcade cabinet that they had in my local mall, and you could be Wolverine, you could be Colossus, you could be all these characters. But I just remember that game was so hard to beat. It was like you had to have like $20 of quarters to beat this game. It was a bitch, and Colossus was awesome.
I have it. I have it programmed on the mod chip on my Xbox, and I can put unlimited lives on it and keep playing it, and I can get all 4 players on the screen at the same time with the 4-player setup. Yeah, my son and I beat it all the time.
So if I came over, all 3 of us could play on the same time.
That's correct. Luke and I beat it all the time, man. We sit there and we would play it, and we beat the game several times.
I remember that it was like song was like X-Men. Like
yeah.
That game, and then Simpsons was so hard to beat. The arcade
I have
game,
that
Simpsons
on my Xbox too, and
I
have
so
the
hard,
Aliens Pulse Rifle game on there too.
Do you really?
Yes.
You know what game?
On my system, I have every arcade game from the 70s up until early 2000s. I will have every game for arcade and home system up until that point. Every game.
So do you have the Aerosmith game where you like it's like a shootout game where you're the band Aerosmith? Do you have that game?
It's on there.
Game? What the hell game? That game was awesome. And then trying to think, like, were you into Mortal Kombat when we were kids? Did you play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
Yeah. Huge Street Fighter Mortal Kombat fan, yeah.
So would you lean more Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat? like if you had to choose, what are you picking?
Okay. Mortal Kombat was really hard to play. Okay.
It was
really hard.
They had so many secret moves, secret like fatalities. Like they had spam moves where if you got too close to Katana, there was a lot of shit that was hard. Yeah, you're right.
It was very hard to play, and the moves were very hard to do. So I would lean more towards Street Fighter because I could actually play it, I could actually beat the game, and I could actually do the moves and know what I was doing. Like I liked Mortal Kombat, but a lot of the time, like it was really hard to beat, and they made it extra hard on you to beat each game. Because I remember the first game, you play it, right? And then you got to a part where you had to beat one character, and then with the same power level you had to beat another character. And they did that for a couple rounds, right?
Yeah, that shit is hard. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. And then you have to, what was it? After that, you had to something crazy because you had to play double with that.
Goro was next.
Yeah, Goro. And he was all right. Shang Tsung could beat everybody, but they made him extra hard to like just do anything. And then 2 was even worse.
Oh, Part 2, I've only ever beat at home on Super Nintendo, and it's always with the same character. I win it with Jax, because Jax, I got really good at grabbing and like, come here, and then like punching, uppercutting. I just grab Shang Tsung constantly. I'd like reach out, grab him, pull him to me, uppercut him. But I love Mortal Kombat 2. I'm just not good at it. I would
Yeah, I love it
Street,
too. I love Mortal Kombat. I was just okay at it, but like Street Fighter, oh, I could do everything. You know,
yeah,
I could arcade or home system. I could do fireballs, hurricane kicks, dragon punches, no problem, and I could do it easy or hard. But and same with Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, you know, which I was a huge fan of too. I love those games, but Mortal Kombat, loved it, but I couldn't do much with it because it was so hard, you know.
What about World Heroes? Do you remember that game? World
Yeah,
Heroes?
I remember
Like
World Heroes. Yeah,
it was like a broken down Street Fighter kind of
it
copy.
was.
But I liked it.
I
I
did
would
too.
play. I remember playing World Heroes because it was on like the Konami case or the Capcom. I can't remember. You could play like 3 different games in this one cabinet, and World Heroes was part of that cabinet. And I remember Mortal Kombat 2 would cost 2 quarters. So World
Yeah.
Heroes only cost a quarter. So I would move over to that cabinet when I was running low on money. I do remember doing that as a kid. Like I would
And
flip
Samurai
flop in between
Showdown.
and Bubble Bobble. A
Yeah.
bust a bubble or whatever the hell. That was dope. Nicole says that we can get Disney's Disney Plus again because she wants to watch the Taylor Swift Eras tour. And Johnny says he heard Taylor Swift swears a lot. Is that true? Nicole says occasionally, but I wouldn't say it's a lot. So
I
I don't
don't know
know.
anything about Taylor Swift at all besides her name. 'Cause I was never into that sort of thing. I was never into mainstream music. I came from the punk rock scene, the real punk rock scene, not that Blink 182 trendy stuff. You know, I came
No
from the Dead
effects.
Boys and the Damned and Fear and real
The
punk rock.
Smiths.
Huh?
Yeah. The Smiths.
The Smiths were more of a modern, a mod kind of new wave kind of thing. They were kind of their own thing. You know, they were
Okay.
competing with The Cure. So like you had Depeche Mode, The Cure, and the Smiths, and they were all competing for the number one spot. You know, and so like Depeche Mode and The Cure were kind of like right here because the Smiths were more kind of independent. You know, they weren't
Mhm.
doing like big world tours like The Cure and Depeche Mode were. They're doing world tours right now. Depeche Mode's coming out
Yeah.
here doing a tour.
D- Dude,
So
Depeche Mode when I was a kid or when we were kids, they still sound exactly the same today that they
yes,
sounded in like 92.
yeah,
Because you know how like when people get older their voices change, especially singers?
yeah.
They're just as good. They're just as
Yeah,
good,
Dave
man.
Gahan still sounds exactly the same. The Cure did their tour. They still got it. You know, Robert Smith still does his thing. Morrissey sounds great. He still does, but there is no Smiths reunion because they don't. Him and Johnny Mars will never be in the same room with Morrissey. I heard that Morrissey even reached out to him, and Johnny Mars will not do it. I met Andy York when he was still alive, the original bass player for the Smiths. He
Hmm.
did a club show back in Corona, California, and I got to meet him once, and he signed my "Hateful of Hollow Smiths" album, and he was really nice. But he said, "Yeah, there's just him and Johnny Mars. Johnny Mars was really torn when that broke up happened, and he won't work with Morrissey. So that's a reunion that'll probably never happen. They'll probably go to their graves and it'll never happen. But I know Morrissey plays. I saw him once, and I say that because he cancels shows left and right. Morrissey is
Yeah.
notorious known for canceling shows, but I saw him, but he canceled on me at Inland Invasion back home in SoCal. And then he had a show on Halloween to make up for it. If you saved your ticket for Inland Invasion, you could go. We saved the ticket and we showed up. And I think it was because he didn't want to share the stage with Billy Idol, Susie and the Banshees, Echo and the Bunnymen. Who else was there? Flock of Seagulls was there. Tears for Fears was there. Devo was there. I don't think he wanted to share the stage, and X was there too, and the Sex Pistols were there, and a bunch of other groups were there too. I don't think he wanted to share the stage with all those people. And so when I saw him, it was just him. But they played, you know, it was his main band that he had when he went solo. You know, Boz Bohr, what was his name? Alan White, and Gary Day. That's who he started with. They were all rockabilly guys from the Polecats and stuff. And so they were all there. And they played, he had not played Smith stuff in a long time. And that's when he first did it at that show. That's when he kicked it off. So he played Light That Never Goes Out, Charming Man. They went into all the Smith stuff, most of it. And it was really good.
Johnny says in the chat, Drew, he says, if Drew's from SoCal, then he must know who Huell Hauser is. Huell Hauser?
Huell Hauser? I'm not sure. Was he in
Johnny,
a band?
who's Huell Hauser? Johnny, who the hell is that? Johnny, what do you want me and Drew to talk about? And Nicole, do you got anything for me and Drew to talk about? We're burning the midnight oil.
That's got me on that one because I hung around the punk rock scene. Like most of the guys I know were from the 70s and 80s scene. And I went to, my best friend was from the 80s scene. He owned a nightclub and it was called Tiger Mask. And it was a club, and they had professional wrestling, and they had rockabilly bands, punk rock bands, new wave bands. And it was kind of a hangout spot in the 90s. And it was right on Sunset, you know, and he did that. And then he had his own band, my best friend, called Igor Spector. He's the lead singer of that, and toured left and right. And so I was always with him and in bands that I played. And, you know, we were always around the Addicts. We were around the Damned to some level. TSOL. From
Johnny says he was not a punk rocker, Drew. I typed that before you started talking about music.
Oh, okay.
He was a PBS travel show. He had a PBS show, like a travel show on PBS from 1990 to 2010.
Really? I don't know if I was watching PBS at that time.
PBS was Bob Ross, Jan Can Cook,
Mr. Rogers,
Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers. What else did I like on PBS? There was some other stuff on PBS I'd watch because PBS was one of those channels. Reading Rainbow with my boy LeVar Burton, who should have been the next host of Jeopardy. They screwed him out of that.
Really?
He was trying to be. He was supposed to be the next host of Jeopardy, I think. Yes.
Wow. He would have been a good one.
They gave it to Ken Jennings, and I think Mayim Bialik was doing it too for a little while from Blossom and Big Bang.
Yeah.
But yeah, LeVar Burton would have been good. He's like very well known. He's well read. I think of him as intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would be good. He's getting up there a little bit in age, though. Maybe that had something to do with it. Because LeVar Burton's got to be like mid 60s, like maybe late.
I would say he's probably got to be around there. You know, as far as his
65.
Age, looking at everything.
Yeah, 64, 65. All right, let's see what this says. Nicole wants us to talk about MySpace coming back.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see that MySpace was supposed to come back?
I didn't think they were serious.
They're like wanting to do it as like an anti-algorithm social media network. So like I just by the way, I deleted my Twitter and I deleted my Instagram this week. I'm no more social media. So if you guys didn't know, no more social media for me, just YouTube. So it's for my own mental health. Thank you very much. But MySpace, allegedly, they're trying to relaunch it. The two guys who own it, they want to have an anti-algorithm social media. So they're not just like forcing crap on your feed. Like you'll actually see posts from people you're friends with or people you're family members with. Stuff you want to see. not stuff they're making you see. So that
I
sounds pretty
got you.
good to me, dude.
No, that
I don't know.
sounds pretty awesome.
I
We'll have to
won't join
do,
it, but are you going to join it?
I don't know, man. You know, it's oh man, that's something to
Dude,
definitely think about.
Drew, we're getting to the age where like the less distractions, the better. Like, got to stay
Yeah,
focused on what you're doing. Like, at least for me, like I try to keep my stuff as simple as possible, man.
you
Like, I'm
kind of
very like,
you have to.
I think you
You know,
do. I think the less noise, the less distractions, the better. Because like, I can't be living that. I just like can't keep up with like 3 different social media platforms, dude. It's like I don't know, and I think it's a waste of time a little bit, to be honest with you. Um, I don't know. I feel like it can take you down rabbit holes you don't want to go. That doom scrolling is
yeah,
definitely something people do. It affects their mental health. You just sit down and just like constantly looking at stuff, stimulated.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I agree. I can't. I don't know, man. There's so much going on, and people are into so many things, and you
yeah,
know, it's kind of becoming a just a circus of a lot of stuff, you know. And that's why I haven't. This is part two. I haven't returned to YouTube, you know, in a lot of ways because like I'm like, is it worth me really coming back to do anything? Because like,
mhm.
will it reach the right people? But I guess I should. You know, I said I would, so I guess I should, and just kind of just take it there. And but this time, you know, I'm going to be doing more content about anti-suicide and you know the divorce rate, dating, like to try to help, to really kind of
Mhm.
get people to think about things, connecting with human connection, not
Yeah.
on the phone, actually, stuff like that. I will be, of course, talking about comic books and all this stuff I'm known for, but I really want to make sure that I drive that home too as well. And there will be no more of like what is it, the Henry Resilient and the this and the that. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole thing just caved in. Dust is
Did
here,
you
Henry's here, this is here, that's
did you,
there.
do you still watch Henry at all?
Have not watched him.
I was friendly with him still on Instagram. I would consider him a friend. But I bet you there won't be very much contact now that I don't have social media. Um, but the
Mhm.
dust thing, the juice box poppy thing, the even when he was making fun of, and I please forgive me. He was on Henry Resilient all the time. He
Rudy?
had short hair. Huh?
Rudy?
What's his name? Not Rudy.
Rudy?
He was the one who like drank something that he drank something and made him he tried to unalive himself. What was his name? He was a white guy with red hair. He had a goatee. He loved the Power Rangers. I can't remember his name. You know who he is, Drew.
Sean?
Sean. Sean.
Ugh,
They started making fun of Sean. Sean started doing crazy stuff.
he did.
Um, Sean brought a lot of that on himself, but Henry like didn't hold up, And sometimes it's like low hanging fruit, man. Like Sean can't really defend himself. Uh, I don't know, man. I hope Sean's doing good. Actually, I haven't talked to Sean in a long time. Hope Sean's doing good. Well,
You
but
know,
go. What were you saying? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
the thing about it was a lot of the people on there, they just started turning against each other and stuff just got ridiculous. And some people wanted to be centerfolds, and they wanted to be the attention on them. And it just
Hmm.
went nowhere because the whole thing, I was just trying to like make cool content and get to know people and make it of a more of a positive thing. And it just seemed like every time I try to help somebody, like people have their own motives, and it just kept blowing up, and I'm just like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this because it's like I'm not doing any good, It's like everybody's got their own motives anyway, so there's not a whole lot I can do to get people to like do positive things. I mean, there's some people I'm still in contact with that are
Yeah.
cool, but I can't do that stuff anymore because there's so many situations, whether even not by choice, I ended up being in, and
Yeah.
it went south. And I was just like, what the heck do I do at this point? Like, the best thing I could do was just walk out, especially, with the stuff I had to deal with, at the time. I was like, I will not have time for this. I've got to deal with this. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it just ended up just being a mess. And, the most notorious person, I'm talking about, um, made a mess out of everything, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Regan.
oh gosh. It just
He.
it was just a disaster. And the people that he got with that rode with him are just as bad, or worse. And I'm
I.
just like, I don't
I
want to
think
deal with this.
the people like I was talking to Nicole yesterday or today. I was talking to her in bed today about how like you have to be equally yoked, and
Yes.
not just in your marriage. I think you have to be equally yoked in your friendships and your relationships too. You can't be
Yeah.
pulling one way and someone pull the other way. You have to have similar aspirations and kind of goals and like lifestyles. Because if you don't, it's not going to work, dude. You're fighting each other constantly.
No, that's
Interested to hear what Drew says about divorce and relationships. It seems like there's some kind of paradigm shift going on. You want to
oh
talk about that, Drew?
yeah. This is Johnny. Johnny Utah. Yes, there is a huge thing. I have so much knowledge to drop and things and stories. It has really affected my life deeply, and it's affected a lot of people. And I have a giant story to tell, like a Star Wars trilogy story to tell about that whole situation, Johnny, because it has really affected. I mean, I already buried a friend over that situation, in October. One of my closest friends from the punk rock scene, Mike Doherty. I known him more than 20 plus years, and he took his life. His wife left, took the kids. I couldn't get him on the phone. My other buddy and I were trying to fly out to California. Well, he was in Kansas, so we were gonna go get him from Kansas, forcefully get him from Kansas, bring him to California to his mom's house because his brother had taken his life 12 years ago over a similar
Mm.
situation. And we were trying to get out there to him. And before we could get there, that Sunday, we were talking about that Monday up and coming week. So a day before Ralph could get to him, he had taken himself out, unfortunately. And that was tough. So I now have, unfortunately, several friends that have done that. And then I've had several friends that are still alive, but it has really worked over their lives. And it's all nonsensical, ridiculous stuff
Hmm.
that's gone down. None of it is what you would abuse or anything like that. It's literally just people not being true blue, not being honest, not being righteous people in any way, not having any honor or standard, dipping down and not knowing themselves, and then jacking up their families, you know? And it's really sad because it has not slowed down. It is like the number one pastime now, has now become jacked up relationships.
Yeah.
And it's not good. It is not good. It's awful. The percentage rate is ridiculous. When you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, look at this percentage rate. This is unreal. And the kids, if you have kids, they suffer the worst. And that's the worst part
Hmm.
about it. Because if you don't have kids, at least it sucks, but at least you can walk away somewhat cleanly. You have kids and things involved, that's a whole nother process.
Yeah.
And the effect that it has on the kids is the worst part. And I could speak to that, definitely. you know, you guys want to be here all night, I'll tell you all about that. But it's a story that is unlike any other, you know. And definitely my whole life has completely changed. And I mean, I'll just be honest. If I could say it, Alex, I'll just say it.
You can
I
say
got
whatever you want.
divorced this year. I should say late last year. Late last year. It was not, I did not file for it. I was married 15 years and I have one kid. And it was a nightmare of a roller coaster. I can tell you that. And there were things that were going on before. And the things I had to deal with was an absolute nightmare. And to find out what the end result ended up being of what, why, who, when, and where was awful too. And my son, it really wrecked him badly. I've got him on a better track now and doing better, but it took some time. And this is why I really want to talk about this, because as the Hair Club for Men commercials used to go back in the day, I'm not just someone that's selling it. I'm also a client, and I'm also a client, you know? And my brother went through it, you know? And so you got me, you got my brother, some of my closest friends went through it. And you're going to get from the videos I do a lot of firsthand experience. It's not just going to be like me reading stats. You know, I'm going to be giving it to you guys from the horse's mouth, you know, what it's like, what divorce court is like, what custody battle is like. I'm going to be getting into all that stuff so I could help people and make them aware. And hopefully we can start saving some of these relationships, and hopefully we can get people to really be serious about what they're doing. You know, if you're going to get married to somebody, that's a commitment. You make it before God, it's serious. So take it seriously, you know. And you got these people that just like, oh, well, you know, hey, it's fine right now, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And 2 years later, they're like, oh, well, this isn't for me. And it's like, how do you like make that kind of commitment and then turn around and say it's not for you? You know, it's like, then you shouldn't have done it. You know, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. And we see a lot of this, you know, people not signing up for what they are getting themselves into. You know, marriage is fun, but it's hard, it's challenging, and that's known that it comes with those things. And for some reason, everybody thinks it's like, you know, ice cream and cupcakes and, you know, Snickers bars and everything else in between. And it's like, yeah, it has good moments, but it's like anything else in life. It has difficult times. It has challenging times. Having kids is tough. It has good moments. Babies are cute. Babies are challenging. You know, my son's 9. So he's on his way to 4th grade here in a week. You know, 2 years, he's going to be out headed to junior high, you know? So I've lived and seen a lot, and unfortunately, but fortunately, I do have a wealth of somewhat knowledge about where I think I can really help people. So I'm actually also trying to start a training program through one of my friend's dads at his church, where I can connect with people on a real level. Cause you know, a lot of these people, you know, they pay them to come out and, you know, they got a whole stick and a spiel. I'm not that person, you know, I'm coming from a very real place. And my goal is to help the world to do better with this, because you don't expect this to go down this way. And you don't expect your kids to go through that. And when that happens, it's an absolute nightmare. But I can honestly say, out of it on a positive side, that it was that 15 years prepared me for the right person and the right things in life and where God wanted to send me. And I can say that. So in that, it was good, you know? So, because what I found out was what I was made out of and what I can do. And I really am a really good husband, really good father. And there's a lot that I won't do. I will do overly
Mhm.
do and make sure that I put the effort, more than the effort, the work and all the extra work in there. So the person that fits that, that deserves to get that, they're going to get a great time because I'm really that devoted to the concept of marriage and dating, building to marriage. I'm really big into that. And I made that a big goal of mine because my dad was married 3 times. My mom was married twice.
Mhm.
I saw mistakes and problems and issues, and it really spoke to me and said, hey, I really want to be better, not just than my parents. I want to be better for myself. So I can move in the right way. And that was really important to me. So yeah, I'd be happy to, do that and share that, with people anytime. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Nicole and I just decided this week that we're getting married. So
All
it's been
right.
like, yeah, it's been like 15 years. We bought the rings and everything. They're on the way. Yeah. Like we're going to get married for real. Yeah. Nicole, you in the
I'm so
chat? You hear
happy
that?
for you guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's like we're married anyway, but like this will be the real deal. So it'll be good. It'll be good. I feel like God definitely wants that. For sure. So that's good. Oh, Nicole says, yeah, with a heart. Oh, God.
I'm
Oh,
so I'm
boy.
so happy for you guys. See, this is what I like seeing right here. This is awesome.
Thanks,
This is
man.
definitely awesome, man. I'm so happy for you guys, and let me know what you guys need, your registry, whatever, I can do for you guys, I'm really excited for you guys. This is really cool.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah.
Um, what, so hey, on a lighter note, other than romance, earlier in the chat, Johnny says, by the way, big shout out to Johnny for hanging with us this entire live stream. We're going on like 2.5 hours now. Listen to this. He says, talk about weird people everyone forgot about from the past, like Dave Coulier, Fabio, etc. I would include Carrot Top and Gallagher in that mix, wouldn't you? Corey
Yeah, I
Feldman?
have a story. I have a story. Strangely enough, I have a story. I shared an
About who?
elevator at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas with Fabio. So I got to meet him and
Oh,
talk to him.
stop.
I
Did you get to
did.
touch his hair?
I'm not going to
Did
ask
you get
that
to
man to
touch
touch
his
his
hair?
hair, but it looked good. It's shiny. It's shiny. It looks nice. And he's a very, very nice guy. He's legitimate cool guy. And I was just like, because
Oh,
I watched a show he was in called Acapulco Heat in the
oh,
90s.
yeah, I remember that. I didn't watch a lot of it, but
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
I told him because Michael Worth was the martial artist in the show, and he's a really good martial artist. And he was kind of around the Sasha Mitchell, Renzo Lames group. And
A level of star like Renegade. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
yeah. And my buddy Viking Samurai, check out his channel. He interviewed Lorenzo Lames, actually.
What do you have to
So
say? Lorenzo seems like a good dude. He
he
seems
is a
like he's
good
a good
dude.
dude.
He is a really, really neat guy, and he's really, really humble guy. And his story is really powerful and awesome about how he just came to be, being the son of one of the most famous actors of all time, Fernando Lamas,
Yeah,
who is
yeah.
like he's the level of Ricardo Montalban. They were kind of neck and neck,
Hmm.
and he was a real deal tough guy too. He told some stories about him, messing up some people that stepped up to him, with the
Really?
nice
Okay.
suit on, he threw hands with people. That's what he was kind of like. So, and Lorenzo Lama is another fantastic martial artist. He's a lifelong student of the arts because he's mastered one, two, three. He's at least mastered at least 6 arts underneath that I know. Um,
Okay.
and
Wow.
he's very good. He's very, very good, very disciplined, very focused, very, very martial art minded 24/7. I'm impressed by Lorenzo's, martial art prowess. It's incredible. People don't know how good he really is and how long he's been doing it and how many circles and the people he's trained with the list is crazy. He's trained with some of the greatest people in the martial art world, and it's worked a lot for him. So yeah, Fabio was cool. Somebody asked something. I did see Dog. I didn't talk to him, but I have seen Dog the Bounty Hunter twice.
Dog the Bounty Hunter seems like, I don't know him, obviously, I've never met him, but from what I've seen of him, he seems like a genuinely like caring person. He seems like if he doesn't actually care, he's putting on a pretty good show. Like, he seems like he's grounded.
Okay, here's what I'll say. And when I did see him, his wife was still alive.
Okay.
They were at Colorado Springs Comic-Con. And okay, so Comic-Con, everybody's got a table in the area. You could see everybody. They were the only people that had a tent. You could not see them. You had to go into the tent and you had to pay.
Okay.
They cost more than anybody else at Comic-Con. Okay.
Okay.
And you couldn't see them. The only way you saw them is that they had to go to the bathroom. That's how I saw him. He had to go to the bathroom. He walked out and I saw the silver toe cowboy boots and the long hair. And he came out.
Yeah, and the shades. Yeah.
Yeah, but he treated himself like he was like the rock star of like Comic-Con. He had a tent and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he cost more than everybody else. That's what I had to say about him. I was like, oh, I'll go over. I was like, I had to pay to get in the tent, and I got to, how much? And they were just like, it was some ridiculous amount. I was like, no way.
And did you meet him? No, you didn't meet him.
No, there was no way I was going to pay that amount to meet him for that. Like if I'm going to pay, William Shatner was cheaper than Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Casper Van Dien, Johnny Rico himself, Starship Troopers was cheaper than Dog the Bounty Hunter. Okay. Keith David was cheaper than Dog the Bounty Hunter.
They live. Keith David is like one of the welcome to hell.
Yeah. I've met Keith David. I had a whole conversation with Keith David. He was really cool. I met Keith David, I've met Meg Foster, and I've met Roddy Piper.
You met Meg Foster? Did you pass out in her blue eyes?
They were trippy, man. They were really, really bright, like this bright blue that glows when you meet her.
Evil Lynn, dude.
Very nice.
What are you familiar with Corey Feldman at all?
Of course.
What do you think about his music career? Have you seen any of it?
Yes, it is ridiculous. Corey Feldman is having a good time, but it is ridiculous. It is the most silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, this is some silly stuff.
What do you think about when he had the Corey's Angels? Do you remember that when he was trying to
I do, and he came out doing the pop and locking with the hood on, and then they had the angel outfits playing in the back. Yeah, I saw that
on the Today Show. There's a documentary on YouTube called Corey Feldman versus the World, and it goes really deep into it. And it's like on the outside, Corey seems just kind of goofy and like you like him for all Gremlins and Lost Boys and Stand By Me and all this stuff. And then the more you watch this documentary and then the more you kind of do a deep dive about this guy, he's got some weird stuff. Like, I think he's got some weird stuff going on with his sex life and like with he claims he's been sober since like 1990 or something, and he's definitely not sober. And at least in my opinion, like if I was a cop and I had a light over his eyes, I don't know that they would pass the test.
He's got to start being himself. He can't be Michael Jackson, like he's got to stop wearing those Captain Crunch outfits Michael Jackson used to wear. Like it's not working. I'm like, you're not
Captain
Michael.
Crunch.
That's what he looks like. Michael used to wear those Captain Crunch. Him and his brothers with the little, what was it? The Prince and Cinderella. He had the.
Oh yeah.
They wear.
Got that stupid jacket with the like almost military kind of looking like.
Yeah. Jermaine Jackson was wearing that about a month ago or whatever when they did the Michael Jackson movie at some premiere. I mean,
dude, Jermaine's neck. Have you seen Jermaine's neck? It's like tightened up and like almost stapled together. It's like the worst facelift, neck lift of all time. And he tattooed his hairline. Did you see that? Or painted his
Okay.
hairline, Jermaine Jackson?
Let me grab my charger real quick because I got something to say about Jermaine Jackson's hair.
Okay.
That hair is, oh my gosh.
It's a tragedy. He wants his 15 minutes of fame back. Who does, Johnny? Dog or Jermaine?
Oh my gosh. Dog's hair is crazy, but Jermaine has the craziest hair I've ever seen in my life. That hair needs to go. That hair has its own email address and phone number. It's just it's insane.
Corey Feldman wants his 15 minutes of fame back. Corey Feldman hasn't really been relevant since probably The Burbs was his last like big movie, and that was like 1989.
Yeah.
And that was when he was getting arrested a lot of times for drugs, driving under the influence. He got the role of Donatello in the Ninja Turtles movie as a voice. After that,
part 2 because he had some drug rehab problem.
Yeah, something like that. 93 came back. But Corey Feldman has not had like a serious A-list box office movie career since probably 89. I think Dream a Little Dream came out in 89 and License to Drive was 88. The Burbs was 89. That was pretty much it. And like for a guy to, and I like him in all those roles, by the way. I liked Corey Feldman movies. I think that's why he still is kind of, even though he's doing all this weird stuff, I think people are still like, well, he was in Gremlins. Like we like it's fine. Like whatever. I don't know.
And I wish Michael Jackson set him down and was just like, dude, you got to get a grip on this because like it's just,
like
it's just it's gotten, he's become like this character, you know.
He's a character.
He was out here
caricature.
at the Comic-Con a couple months ago. So he came.
Corey
was here.
I'm grabbing a taco. Hold on one second. Keep. You have the floor.
Yeah, Corey was out here, and my son likes him in Goonies like a lot. So like, I want him to meet him, but at the same time, I don't know how off he's gonna be.
What's your opinion? I don't know if I've ever asked you about this. What's your opinion on Michael? Was Michael guilty?
No, I don't think he was. I think Michael was like a kid himself. That's why things were kind of bizarre because he moved like a kid because he was just so ripped up from everything he had to experience from his dad to the fame and everything. Michael protected people from those things. You know, that's why Corey Feldman, Macaulay Culkin, Brooke Shields, Manuel Lewis, that's why they all speak highly of him because they all said everybody wanted to do weird stuff to us. Michael was the only person that didn't and actually took care of us. You know, made sure we were cool, you know, and made sure we were all right. We felt the safest with Michael and he looked out for us, you know, and that was the truth. And, you know, the thing about it was they could never prove, you know, there was never any video footage. And the thing about it too was Safechuck and all those guys, they admitted that their parents set them up for all that stuff. And they kept going back and forth because the parents wanted more money. You know, so it was like, all right, we got the money we want. All right, fine. Okay, we ran out of money. Yeah, he did do it. Okay, we got the money. He didn't do it. Okay, and Safechuck dated Michael's niece, Jackie Jackson's daughter, for years. So you see what I mean? Like, it's all a hoax. They took advantage of Michael because they thought that they could get a payday off of him. That's what it's really about. You know, they just used him. It sucked.
I feel like
he died like that.
The criminal case in 2007 or 2008, I think that's what killed him. Like, I think the stress of it killed him, but also he was found not guilty. Like he was exonerated, and people still didn't, you know, I don't know. It was. I would love to believe that he was what he said he was, because Michael Jackson is probably the greatest entertainer of my lifetime.
Oh, for sure. He's the, you know, you got
I really
him
think
and you
so.
got Elvis. You know, you had him and you had Elvis, and both tragic passings. You know, you had Prince, tragic passing, you know, like it's a little weird.
Prince's death was really weird too, because he was staunch, no drugs, no alcohol. He did not do that stuff, and he died of like pills, or like street pill, something, pain pills. There was
Yeah.
something, his toxicology report, he was abusing pain pills, and he died in his elevator at Paisley Park. They found him in his elevator, right?
Yeah.
That's what I heard. But Prince was like, the song Purple Rain was did you know the song Purple Rain was about the Bible? Did you
I
know
did
that?
not. I knew there was a lot of truth in
Revelation.
that song about life, you know, that was really crazy.
Purple Rain was Revelation, when the sky opens up and God is coming
Mm.
back to judge everybody. That's Purple Rain. And that's why
Wow.
Prince grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. Do you know what the Seventh-day Adventist Church is?
Oh, yes, very much so.
They're like an offshoot of Jehovah's
Jehovah
Witnesses. They
Witnesses.
believe Saturday is like the only true Sabbath. If you don't go to church on Saturday, you're going to go to hell. There's only like 144,000 people that will go to heaven, which is crazy, because if you think about all the people that have ever existed on the planet,
Mhm.
like that's a very low number. Odds aren't good. But Prince grew up in that environment, and I was pleased to know that he was a Christian. I like that, knowing that.
I remember the line in the song Purple Rain, you say you want a leader, but you don't want to follow. I'll never forget that. I'll never
That's
forget
about
that.
God, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
I'll
got to be
never
about
forget
God.
that.
That's got to
I
be
said,
about God,
wow.
guaranteed.
That thing
Um,
blew me away. I was like, wow. That's
so
going to be
Drew,
Britney Spears in
what?
10 years.
Who's going to be Britney in 10 years? Corey?
I
Oh,
think
let's talk
so.
about. Well, Britney was talented to begin with musically, so no, it won't be. But let's talk about Britney. What do you think about Britney's dance videos, Drew? Are you a fan?
I'm not.
That she puts.
You know, Britney Spears was that preppy yuppie music, you know, so I avoided her like the plague, you know, like I was in high school. I was running the punk rock scene, you know. I was like, I wasn't trying to listen to that stuff.
Well, her stuff now, she doesn't even do music anymore,
I just heard she
and
cracked up and went crazy. That's what I heard.
she's been putting out a lot of weird videos where she's dancing like naked, smiling, dancing with butcher knives. She's had like a psychiatric break or something. There's a reason. There was a reason that her parents or her dad had the relationship they had. What is it called when um you're an adult but you're still under your parents' control? What is that called?
You mean getting emancipated from them?
No, it's the opposite. Um she was the dad still had like parental like control over her money and her personal life at like
Conservatorship.
age
Johnny
35.
pointed that out. Conservatorship. Okay.
Conservatorship. That's it. That's what it was.
Well, I mean, you take these kids, you put them in these heavy responsibilities, you know. She was a Mickey Mouse Club kid, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you put these kids out there young, right? They got these crazy schedules. They're supporting their families literally. They're making all these crazy schedules. They're not living a normal life as a kid. They're traveling. They're doing all these shows. They're booking all this stuff. And people are just expecting for people to be normal after that. Like, what child star do you know that came pretty normal out of it, unless the ones that did really had grounded parents that handled business very tightly. If that didn't happen,
there's one that comes to mind. Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons.
You got a point there. He came out pretty good. Alfonso Ribeiro came out pretty good.
Emmanuel Lewis came out pretty good.
Yeah, because their parents, they had good parents, but a lot of these people don't have good parents. A lot of the parents are just making money off the kids. It's like Will Wheaton talked about with him and his sister. You know, like the parents just wanted the money.
Will didn't even care. Will didn't even want to be an actor.
Yep. He wanted to play with the Star Wars figures and hang out.
Yeah. He didn't even want to be an actor. I just saw, did I tell you that me, Nicole, and my brother went to see the Stand By Me meet and greet thing where we watched the movie with the people who were in the movie, and then they talk about the movie. Yeah, we went. It was in Portland, probably like 3 months ago, and we had pretty good tickets. We were like, it was like a kind of a medium-sized amphitheater, and Corey Feldman was there, Jerry O'Connell, Will Wheaton, the kid who played the dead body in the movie was there. That he's from Cottage Grove, so he was there on stage with them. They're like, you know who this is? This is Ray Brower. This is the dead body of the person we went to go find.
Did Kiefer Sutherland show up?
No Kiefer, man. But it was pretty cool. Like, it was very neat, dude. And Will Wheaton seems like a gentleman. Seems like a great guy.
He does, man. You know who had a trippy childhood too was Jason Patric.
Okay.
Do you know about Jason Patric, his childhood?
Jason Patric's dad is Jackie Gleason, or his grandpa's Jackie Gleason?
His grandfather's Jackie Gleason. His father's Jason Miller. He played the priest, the good guy priest that sacrificed himself in The Exorcist, the young priest. That's his dad.
That was his dad? Okay.
Yeah. And he talked about how his dad got famous. He wrote some plays. He did a big Broadway play, and then he got hooked up on drugs and partying and abandoned him and his brother and his mom. And he talked about how Jackie Gleason, his grandfather, didn't want anything to do with him and had no interactions with him really. And when he was around him, it was really rough times, dealing with him. Yeah. Jason talked about that on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. It was him and Kiefer Sutherland. They both came together, and Jason got into that. Yeah.
That's interesting because do you know that Jason Patric and Kiefer Sutherland were really tight on Lost Boys, and then after Lost Boys they had a falling out for a little bit?
Yeah, they talked about that because Kiefer was supposed to marry Julia Roberts. And then that went south, and then she went after Jason Patric, and they were kind of a quick thing, and that's what kind of separated them. But they kind of, bridged the gap on that one because, dude, Julia kind of just, nothing worked out anyway.
Drew, she left her engagement to Kiefer, and she ran away with Jason to Europe.
Yeah, the Ireland. Yeah.
That's crazy.
They talk about that on the Inside of You podcast. They talk about that whole situation.
Kiefer's got to be one of the most mentally strong people to put his pride aside and still be close to Jason Patric after that. Because a lot of people would not be friends with him after that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a done deal.
That's a big ask.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big ask, and it's really a testament to their friendship to forgive each other like that and move forward and to be like brothers, is a really good thing. And I really like Jason Patric. There's a lot to him. And of course I like Kiefer. I think they're both really neat guys that have, been through a lot of things, especially Jason, more so. I remember they asked Jason about when Corey Haim died.
What did he have to say about that?
That was everybody wanted to know what Jason had to say about it. That was the number one person they wanted to know. And he said, a long time ago, I knew this young kid named Corey Haim. We did this movie called The Lost Boys. And I told him There are things in Hollywood he should avoid. There are things he shouldn't do when he's in Hollywood, such as drugs and drinking and partying and different things like that, that he may really want to avoid. And he went full-fledged into that stuff. And unfortunately, you know, he had the fate that he did because of, you know, his choices of doing that stuff. But I did try
Yeah.
to guide him in a better way, but he was not trying to hear it, you know.
Especially at that age, especially when he was just coming up and girls were all over the two Corys and
Oh yeah, you
yeah.
know, so it's like he really tried to do right by him, but you can only do so much when it comes to, you know, certain people when they don't want to hear. And you know I know all about that. So, you know.
You can't make sorry, I dropped my phone.
No,
Glass breaks. You can't make anyone do anything unless they want to do it. Like unless they want to change, it's not going to happen.
no, it's not. And that's the tough part, but people choose their own destiny sometimes. No matter, and you
Mhm.
could see where it's going, you know, and try to stop and be like, dude, I see where it's going. This is not good, you know, and they don't want to hear you. So I mean, you can't stop them from doing it. And unfortunately, their fate usually, if they don't change it, it goes bad, you know. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
you know, did they get warning? Yeah, people tried to tell them, but they weren't interested in listening. So I mean, you
Yeah.
can the best thing you can do is try to help them, and if they pick up on it, cool. And if they don't, you know, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
decision they make, but they can't say that you didn't try to help them or stop them, you know, to make a
Yeah,
better choice.
you can definitely like what you said about you can see where it's going to go, you know, you can see where this is going,
Yeah.
but they still can't stop themselves. So that reminds me of Chris Farley. Like Chris Farley's
Yeah.
life, like the things he was doing and the way he was living his life, it's like you don't live a long life doing the things he was doing. And I think a lot of people around him were like, this is going to end really badly.
Yeah.
And like they were afraid it was going to end like John Belushi, which it
It
kind of
did.
ended exactly like
Yeah.
that. It's like almost identical. Like Chris Farley, his death pictures are on Google. Have you seen those?
I saw a little bit
The
of it.
picture, it's pretty disturbing. The girl who took his photo before he passed, it was an escort, and she left him, and he was lying on the floor, kind of passed out or passing out. Took a picture of him, and then the next day when they found him, the death photo, he's in the exact same position. So he died. Like maybe had she not left, she could have called the authorities or called 911 or whatever, because he probably choked to death or something on his own. You know, unfortunately, but it's one of those things. It's like you can't make somebody stop doing stuff. It's like when I was drinking and drinking a lot, I was trying to cover up pain and anxiety and all these things. You know, you try to fill your life with outside stuff, and all it does is cause more problems. It didn't help anything. It just caused more and more and more and more problems for me personally.
Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
it's hard, you know, life is challenging, but you do get faced with decisions. Do you go left or do you go right? And
Right.
you do have to face that one day. You have to face what that's like, and what decision you make can forever dominate the destiny of where you go and what happens.
Hmm.
So I tell people, choose wisely with what you choose to do. We all have a point where we get to a certain age where we have to start taking that really, really seriously about what our future is going to kind of look like, you know, kind of going forward. And that's
Hmm.
kind of the big thing about it. And I try to really instill a lot of that on a lot of younger guys. You know, my nephews and stuff like that. You know, I've spent and my one nephew, two of them, done extremely well because I really kind of sat there and sat on them about some things and made sure that they kind of moved a certain way. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. I really am, because I didn't want them to get lost, in the wrong stuff, and make
Hmm.
really bad decisions, and, and kind of put themselves in a bad spot. I didn't want that for them. So I try to do that. Now I've got my son, I've got a guide, I still got some time because he's still a kid. But
Hmm.
I've really worked on him, where he's a good kid, he's respectable, people like him, people talk about how great he is, and I know how great he is, and it's not just a front for them, it's really what he's about. And he has a great, great, great building with God, which is really cool for his age. Um, he really understands that, and after everything that's happened, with the divorce and everything, um, it's actually made him stronger because I've really kind of guided him in a certain way, you know,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
because of that, he's able on his own to see what he needs to see. I didn't have to tell him, you know, and
Yeah.
he could figure things out on his own about what went down, what happened, and he's going, okay, I need to move this way on his own automatically, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that I had that type of impact on him to be able to do that. And it's really been encouraging to kind of go forward. So, you know, you try to make the right calls the best you can and learn from your mistakes and then do better. And the trick is to not give up. That's really the trick. The really big trick of everything is to never give up and never give in to the wrong things. And that's what I've done
Hmm.
my whole life. And, I'll break it down, boys and girls. I have survived cancer, losing my eyesight from a car wreck when I flipped across 6 lanes in Northern California. Um, I have multiple sclerosis currently. I haven't let that keep me down. Survived chemotherapy, which turned into getting sepsis and being stuck in the hospital for 8 weeks. Survived that. I never quit. And then divorced, being married 15 years. I didn't let that knock me over to the other side.
Hmm.
And God blessed me because I am dating someone that's awesome that I actually knew 17 years ago that I never dated. And I got a chance. And guess what? She's out here in Colorado. Go figure. Look at how that works. So it's one of my sister's closest friends. So it just all came in place. And then my sister was like,
That's weird how
hey,
that works.
yeah, it's like my sister was helping me because I was driving again. I haven't driven like in 5, 6 years. So I was driving and she was helping me kind of get some things in place. And then she's like, oh yeah, I talked to Shannon, and I was like, what? And it's like, how's she doing? Great. She's in Colorado. She is? She's like, yeah, I was talking to her about areas to kind of check out different. Okay. She's like, my sister's like, yeah, you should say hey to her. Rest is history, you know? That's how it happened. And I was like, what? Like, this is so crazy. She's an action figure fan. She loves film big time. We're
Yeah.
watching RoboCop tomorrow, actually. And yeah,
87? RoboCop
87.
87? Has
Yeah.
she seen it?
She saw it a long, 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 long time ago. She doesn't remember much of it. And so we're getting together. We get together a lot and we watch movies. I cook, we watch movies, and that's the next one on the plate. So it's gonna be cool.
I'd buy
And
I'd buy that for $1.
oh yeah, and I have a connection to RoboCop. I told you about that, right? Did I tell you about that?
No.
My
No,
mom's
what are you talking about?
friend was in RoboCop.
What part
Yeah,
was he in RoboCop? What are you talking? She or he? Your mom's friend?
he played
Okay.
Donald Johnson from OCP, the guy that's with Bob Morton. The glasses, the one that eats the
What?
baby food, that eats RoboCop's.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's my mom's friend Felton Perry. He was also Dirty Harry's partner in Magnum Force. Okay,
That's so
so
funny.
he knows my mom and aunt. They knew each other in LA. So when RoboCop was going, he signed an autograph for me. Really cool guy. And so that's my connection to RoboCop. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's cool. RoboCop 1 and 2 are so good. RoboCop 3, I
Had
don't know.
potential to be
What do
good,
you
but it wasn't good.
Peter Weller didn't come back to be RoboCop. It was
He was
I don't even.
contracted to do Naked Lunch, and he didn't know they were going to do RoboCop 3, and so he couldn't get out of the contract to do it. But he said he would have done it.
That's what I do remember seeing that RoboCop could fly in part 3. I was like, that's pretty
He had the
cool.
jetpack. Yeah.
He had a jetpack. There's a lot of really good memories I have about RoboCop. I love the RoboCop arcade game. Do you guys have that at the house?
I do.
Is that what Little Man was playing? Was he playing the arcade?
He's beaten that game, but he was playing the new one that's on Xbox, the one where Peter Weller came back to do the voice about a year or two ago, and they go back.
I didn't know that he.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
where did they go back to?
You know, Lewis is in it. Sergeant Reed is in it. You know, the Ed 209's there. Daniel Hirahi is the old man. He's there. So you do the whole thing, and you get to interact. You get to give people tickets if you want to. You can give people tickets and violation tickets. You know, you're fighting all the gangs and criminal element. You know, you fight an Ed 209 that goes wrong, and you have to stop that. That's what he was playing, and he loves it. Oh my goodness, he went. Gosh, he didn't go to sleep. I don't know when. He was just like, you know,
immersed in it. I remember when you and I were like, God, probably like 11. They came out with RoboCop versus Alien. Is that correct for Super Nintendo, or was it RoboCop versus Predator?
Versus Terminator.
Okay, RoboCop versus Terminator. I got that game, and I was like, this is going to be the greatest game ever, and it was really difficult. Do you remember that?
I do. I do. A lot of people didn't have the game, and it was very difficult to play. It's on my system. I'm pretty sure it's on the system.
I feel like RoboCop versus Predator would be a natural. Like, I feel like because Predator only fights people that are equally, like, who could actually put up a fight, and RoboCop could absolutely put up a fight, right? And I feel like RoboCop could scan and see Predator, even without seeing him. I don't know. It would be good. I think it would be good.
It would be a crazy fight, you know, if they ever did it. And you know what? For tomorrow, I have prepared a special set of shoes.
Okay. What do you, RoboCop?
I made RoboCop shoes. Yeah.
Dude, I may need to one of these days, if you have time, pay you to make some Masters of the Universe shoes.
Oh, you didn't see my new He-Man shoes, did you?
Let's see those. No, I didn't see them. Let's see them. We're a few years away from real life. Yeah, we probably are, Johnny. Oh, those are sick. Yeah, those are sick. Orko on the back.
Yeah. Here they are.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. So they're pretty. Yeah, I put these together. So they were a lot of fun to put together. I was like, oh man, they're going to be the RoboCop ones I'll have tomorrow. Guys, we'll have to do a show where I go through all these custom shoes. I've got so many.
Show and tell.
I have a whole rack right here behind me. You know, that's just like the hall. Luke calls it the hall of shoes. So let me see. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. So it's all done out. So you see my helmets, I have Biggs, Luke, and Wedge.
So, that's pretty sick.
And then there's my Speed Racer helmet I made. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just started like coming up with things and been going since then. The custom shoe thing and the custom hat thing just took off. Let me see the RoboCop.
Yeah, the hat thing is ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Check this out.
Oh, that's sick.
Knight Rider. Yeah, these are the Knight Rider shoes I
Yeah,
did.
dude. You know what we need to get for those shoes? We need to get some sort of glowing red, something.
I have in my car. So I did one lace for the light.
So
That's what I did.
yeah,
In my car,
yeah,
I have a
yeah.
kit car charger and it talks to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Your
cool.
phone is your phone is dying, Drew.
It charges your phone, it talks to you. Um, so it's really cool. Let me see.
Nicole says
There's the
those shoes are
RoboCop.
neat.
Yep.
Oh, let's see it. That's sick. And the color scheme is dope. Yeah, those are sick.
I did two
Drop it.
different patches. Yeah. So I put
Yeah,
those
those
together.
are
That
sick.
was pretty cool to do those. So I was like, now people are asking me about doing Predator shoes. I'm looking at the design of how I'm gonna do it, and when I do it, it should be pretty cool. Like the idea I have for it, but I'll give you a sneak preview. This will be on there.
Okay. Now are they gonna? Is that the colors? Is that the color scheme? Are they gonna be like jungle scheme?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Like,
like a woodland camouflage. Yeah.
okay, that'll be
So
sick.
I just did. You
And
got the aliens ones I sent you, right?
I
Yeah, I
did see
did. I
those.
hand
You
painted.
For your Predator shoes, you need to have, instead of a Nike swoosh, you need to have it look like a Bic razor on the side of the shoe.
I have to work that. Yeah, that might be something I could work out. You
I'm
know,
teasing,
thinking
man.
about.
He just
Oh,
just shaving his face raw constantly in that movie.
oh, Bill Duke. He's. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know. Something in the jungle.
I did all
Uh,
the custom
all
figures for them. Actually, so that was pretty cool. I think you'll like these.
yeah, those custom figures were seriously one of the first things you showed me, and I love them. Okay, those are sick.
But I also put Rapid
So they're
Fire
like
and
a
the Crow
Brandon.
together.
Yeah, they're like a Brandon Lee shoe.
Yeah, I did those, and I have Bruce. I have Bruce. So with Bruce, I kind of did two things. I did I did Bruce, but I also put the Last Dragon right there because I
Okay.
thought that would be cool.
Yeah,
So
those are cool.
yeah, these are really neat ones to do. So I was like, oh, I got to do Bruce.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
such a good
always.
outlet, man.
Yeah, I try to come up with different things, as much as I can.
Oh yeah, those
So
are
these were
sick.
cool to do. Yeah, those were really neat to do. I'm always thinking about different designs, different things. I try to come up with how to make it really stand out. Like these were really cool. Here's my Shawn Michaels.
Those are cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are sick. Those are really good. Like those are
yeah.
really good.
I try to come up with like different ideas, and I'm like, oh, okay, that'll stand out. That's kind of cool, and I start putting stuff together. So yeah, it really depends. So let's see, you like turtles, so
Yeah, who
one
doesn't?
side is Raphael and Donatello, one side's Michelangelo, Leonardo colored laces.
That's sick.
Yeah, so I'm always coming up with different things.
There's the
Replicant
pizza.
pizza, yeah.
Those are
So
sick.
I'm like, how can I make this work, or how can I make this stand out? It's kind of like that. You know.
Oh, those are sick. Oh yeah, with the names of the Ghostbusters.
And these glow in the dark.
Okay, that's even cooler.
Yeah, those are pretty cool to do when I did those ones. So I'm always coming up with different things. And let's see. Legend of the White Dragon representation for
Oh,
Jason
let's see it,
Frank.
please. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Those, Drew, those are sick.
Yeah, these are pretty
Those are
cool.
awesome. Those are really cool.
So
Yeah, those are legit.
I tried to come up with different things, and but I tell everybody I can only go so far, guys, because I can't. I was like, if you guys want the shoes, there's only so much I'm gonna make for me, because like, where am I gonna put them
Mhm.
all? Like, so it's
Well,
like
yeah,
eventually
and
for me it'll have to end, and then I have a friend of mine that's gonna help me do the shoes for a business side of things because he really thinks it'd be really cool. So I was like, okay, I'll teach you and we can kind of. So I think the first shoe we're gonna do that we'll sell is Carnage from Spider Man.
oh yeah, that would be a black and red scheme, like ripping out of the
Yeah,
side.
yeah, we
That
were
I can
talking
see the
about
picture
that.
right now.
So
You want to
that
talk
might
about a
be.
hard video game? You remember Maximum Carnage for Super Nintendo? How freaking
I
hard that
do.
was?
Oh yeah,
Thundercats. Yeah, that's sick.
yeah. I
We
tried
like
to come up with different things.
we like all the same stuff. It's
That's
crazy.
it's insane, man. It's been crazy trying to do all these things, but it's been fun. I even did stuff like this. This is Halloween this year.
Okay. Speed Racer.
Yep, I'll be Speed
Yeah,
Racer
those are
for
sick.
Halloween. So
This
the
year.
helmet's right there. I have the gloves. I have the shirt, the pants, whole 9 yards, jacket, neckerchief, everything. So it's pretty cool. Oh, but you can't do Speed Racer without doing Racer X.
There you go. Oh, those are sick.
Yeah. So the
I
Racer
like that
X is
color
like,
scheme.
yeah, it's a really cool one. I was like, I can't do it without doing Racer X. So I was just like coming up with different
Yin and
things.
yang.
Predators happening. Um, I can't believe I'm going to do it, but I have Wolverine. But a lot of people said, "What about the brown suit? You have the yellow and the blue, but what about the brown?" So I'm looking at doing the brown suit Wolverine, which means I got to do a hat for the brown suit. So
Hmm.
I was like, dude, I don't have a hat. I got to build a hat, and then I got to build the shoe. So I'm like,
We got that's a first world problem, Drew.
it
It's like,
is.
man, I gotta design my outfit. What a bitch.
It it's the thing about it because I tell people if I do the shoes, I have to have a hat. If I have to have a hat, I got to make sure I got a shirt, and then I have to make sure I have a watch that matches it.
Listen, that's a give a mouse a cookie. You remember that book when we were kids?
Yes.
If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna want a glass of milk. If you give him a glass of milk, he's gonna want to take a nap. If he takes a nap, he's gonna want a haircut. He gets a haircut, he's gonna need a bath.
Yeah, it's like I've got like all these watches. Like it's insane. Like I'm like here's a camouflage. The green. There's all white. Like
They can match different outfits.
yeah.
I've got, and then in most cases there has to be like a hoodie. There has to be a hoodie. So it's like, all right, if I do that, then I've got to get the hoodie. And so I'm like, so it's a whole thing. So I have a Brandon Lee hoodie. I've got 2 Bruce Lee hoodies. I've got the Green Ranger Super X limited release with the Shield hoodie.
Okay, that's sick.
Yeah. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. I got it.
Oh, yeah, let me see that. It actually has the
Crazy.
shield.
Yeah. It's got the shield. It's got the bands.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Is that then the helmet? There you go.
Yeah. So it's
That's awesome.
the whole thing.
And there's our boy.
Yeah. I was like,
There's our boy.
So it's like, and I do have the communicator. So
Oh, dude.
I'm like, so it's like, it's the whole thing, like I have, when I did Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi when it came to shoes. So, and then there was the hoodie and the hat for each one. Next to him, I have Indiana Jones. So I did that. And then I did Mad Max and Escape from New York, shoes for both. And those were crazy because I hand painted Snake Plissken's camouflage design on the shoe. So it's got the gray and the black camouflage design. And then I have him on it. So Mad Max is pretty crazy looking. I have like the rusted kind of metal effect going on the shoes. I have Autobots and Decepticons. I'm just like, what else? So I'm trying to
When are you
slow it
doing?
down.
When are we getting Slash Track shoes? When are we getting Slash Tracks Network shoes?
When you're ready, let me know. I'll make them extra
Me on
special.
one side, you on the other.
Hey, however you want to do it, we can make it happen. I'd be honored to do a pair for you. So it's crazy.
Well, Drew, do you got anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up, my man?
There's so much to talk about. There's always so much going on. I mean, there's so much going on right now. I'm hoping Johnny Quest will make a return. I'm hoping. But I do have news. Did you hear about Arnold's return to Conan?
You know what? Yeah, I did. And I also heard about Arnold's return to possibly Predator. But he's definitely coming back as King Conan, right?
Yes, it's already been greenlit, paid for, and together. They're doing it.
And he's working out right now. He's actively working out to be in the film.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see that.
There's even more news. Genndy Tartakovsky, that did Samurai Jack, his main influence was Conan. And he just got the license rights, and they're already started animating the book translations of Conan the Barbarian animation. So we're getting a Conan the Barbarian animated series by Genndy.
That's cool. My dad, like, his favorite comic book for all time is Savage Sword of Conan. Like,
I love Savage Sword.
He just loves Savage Sword of Conan. Like, so whenever I'm at a comic book store and they have a couple copies of that, I'll buy them for him. They're kind of starting to get kind of expensive.
I had
you used to be able to get them
this of Savage Sword years ago, full size.
Where are they now?
Size. Somebody I may have been married to did not like the covers and made me get rid of them.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Because they had girls around Conan.
Yeah, she didn't like it, so
that's
I had to. Yeah, I had to get her. I had to. I ended up selling them to a shop out in Northern California when we were out there near the Bay Area.
They, dude, Conan. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like the Masters of the Universe toy line was originally supposed to be Conan, but
That's
Conan
true.
the movie was so, dude, Conan the movie was so like brutal and bloody, and Conan like was killing people, and like there was girls all over the place, and there Mattel's like, we can't do this. Like this movie is crazy violent, crazy violent, and there's girls half dressed and all this. We can't do this.
There's some red paint that looks like blood on the front of that. I wonder what shoes these could be.
Conan, Conan, obviously. Oh, there you go. Yeah, those are dope. Drew, did you say that marriage is like the Phantom Menace?
Marriage is
Did you
like the
say that?
Phantom Menace?
Yeah, Johnny Utah's asking, and he said, I swore Drew compared relationships to Star Wars earlier in the chat. I swear I heard him say marriage is like the Phantom Menace.
I don't think I try not to mention the Phantom Menace at all.
Ever?
Like, I hated that movie.
You
I'm
said
an
getting a
original Star Wars
divorce.
trilogy fan. So it killed it. I remember seeing it when it came out that day, and I went back and watched it several times and tried to like it because it's Star Wars. I should like it, right?
Tried to like it.
But
Tried to like it.
it wasn't working.
Listen, what does he say? Pod racing? Pod racing is very, very dangerous.
Oh gosh.
Okay, that's sick.
Yeah.
You know what you need to make next? A pair of Drago Soviet Union shoes.
That's on the table. Rocky and Apollo are on the table. You know,
I must wear them.
Yeah, they're coming. That's on the list. I do have to do Rocky and Apollo. I already have the hoodies. Got them a long time ago from the Sylvester Stallone shop. The Rocky one was really hard to get. The zip up that says Rocky Balboa Italian Stallion on the back. Like it was really hard to get, but I managed to get it. I have an American flag zip up hoodie, all decked out for Apollo Creed. So
did you get the Rocky 2 robe hoodie when he gets sponsored by the meat shop?
I've seen it. I didn't get it, but I saw it. Somebody had it somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it was, but they had it. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You know, I was like,
Well, Drew, what are you doing tomorrow other than RoboCop and dinner?
I think that's all that's going on from what I put on my schedule for tomorrow. And then Luke and I will be together, I think, Sunday. And we'll be running around grocery shopping and, you know, whatever he wants to do. We did Spider-Man last weekend.
Oh, heck yeah.
So we did that. So we try to get together and do little cool things here and there. But yeah, it'll be me and Shannon tomorrow. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else is going on. I'm always running around, so to have a day like where we just hang out and then nothing else is going on, I don't know what to do with myself because I'm always running, doing stuff like 24/7.
If you want to do a live tomorrow night, unless you're busy all day, maybe tomorrow night or something, or
I'll be busy for the early part because we got to hang out during the early part because she's got this new puppy thing going on. So, it'll be part of the early part of the day. So, 3-4 o'clock, I should be free after that.
All right, dude. Like well, maybe we'll meet up and do this again tomorrow then if you want to.
Yeah, I would love to do that. You know,
Yeah, it's
That's
you're
great.
you're helping me a lot. Drew, I just want to be honest with you, man. You're really helping me these last couple days because I've been going through it, man. I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety and you're helping, and I thank you.
No,
Just
I'm
hanging out with
glad,
me, dude.
man. I love you to death, man, and I love getting together with you. So anyway, I can brighten your life in any way, man. You
Yeah.
got it. I'm honored to do
Well,
that.
thanks, man.
Does Nicole come
Well,
on the shows with you or anything?
she used to be on the show, the movie riff review show, and then like I did a live stream. I think the night before we did our stream, she was sitting right next to me, and I was like talking to her, but she wasn't on camera. But I was like
Gotcha.
talking to her and asking her questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
hey, man. Tomorrow, maybe like 6 or 7. Maybe we'll do something.
That sounds good to me.
All right, dude. And Johnny, stop checking out Donna Mills' OnlyFans. She's 85 years old, bro.
Oh, I heard about
She's
that.
85. So. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
People are so
Seems like the
desperate for
moment.
attention.
Seems like the moment has passed her by, maybe. And I thought if she would have got OnlyFans in the 80s when she was popular, she still would have been in her 40s. Like she still would have been old.
Yeah.
Like that's
true.
crazy. But anyway, all right, man. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Drew.
All right, buddy.
Later, brother.
Hey, be good, guys.
Absolutely. Love you, man. Later.
Love you too.